Request everybody to sit down. May I request everybody to sit down to get your kind attention? Can I get your kind attention, please? Thank you. Please. Please sit down. Thank you. Jadeo bhai, please make yourself comfortable. As we all know, by the Asim Krupa of Sri Srinath Ji, today Devani Gulapsi and family is able to get a Bhagwat Saptah organized in English. And today I'm going to talk about our speaker who is sitting on the Vyaspeed today, Shri Aditya Shastri Ji. Shri Aditya Shastri comes from a family of 16 generations who have been speakers, profound speakers of the Bhagwatam and of Sanatan Dharma. 16 generations means 500 years. And such a beautiful legacy today is on the shoulders of young Shri Aditya Ji. To tell you about Aditya Ji has been one of the youngest speakers at the age of 20 at the Parliament of World Religion. He spoke on Pushtiras at the ripe young age of 20. He was still in college. He has been a student ever since his life, and even today he says that he is a student. Well, he started with Bachelor of Commerce in Mumbai from the Nasimuji College to Master of Commerce in Mumbai University to Master of Business Administration from Nasimuji Institute of Management Sciences, and then currently he is following the PhD in Vallabh Vedant at Mumbai University. He has been awarded the Sudvait, please apologize if I have not got it right, the Sudvait, Sudhavait Dwight Ratna Award, and he is also a PhD in Pushtimarg from Kankroli University. Aditya Ji's legacy comes from the fact that he has got his father's blessings in Krishnadat Shastri, but more so from his forefathers, late Shri Narendra Shastri Ji, Pradyumna Shastri Ji, and Surendrana Shastri Ji. Niranjan Shastri Ji. Thank you, Niranjan Shastri Ji. I have also understood that he has taken the blessings and grace from experts like Acharya Dhananjay Vyasji, from Dr. Pankaj and Dr. Chintanji, experts in their field. Now let us talk about the person that he is. The person that he is continuing into this digital world where he's got a certification from IIDE, which is no mean task. A certification in digital marketing has led him to start a channel on Pushtiras, which is not only on Instagram, but also on YouTube. On Instagram, he has 23,000 followers, and he's got 6,000 followers on YouTube. He takes interest in training. As a business development manager, he has taken interest in training in his past alma mater, IIDE, 20,000 students and professionals. That is his give back to the field where he has studied. He has also made a professional program, digital marketing program for many international companies as well as local companies like Pfizer, like Godrej, Mahindra Group, Leo Burns, and the likes. He is also a visiting professor at IIT Bhilai. All these beautiful things about his work today may seem academic, but what he is doing today is what is the beauty that I like about him. He is interacting with Generation Z. Generation Z is the one which is our future, and he interacts with them in two very profound ways. One, he has got the traditional values, and he is a modern outlook person. So when a modern outlook person holds the traditional values, a lovely name coined for him is the modern monk. And let us today take the pearls of wisdom and knowledge from this modern one and welcome him. Thank you.
Shri Krishnaya Namaha. Shri Gopi Janavallabhaya Namaha. Shrimad Acharya Charana Kamalebhyo Namaha. Shri Gosai Ji Paramadayalave Namaha. Shri Gurave Namaha. Kararavindena padaravindam Mukharavinde viniveshayantam Vatasya patrasya pute shayanam Balam mukundam manasa smarami Barhapidam natavaravuh Karanayokkarnikaram Bibradavasah Kanakakapisham Vaijayantim Jamalam Randhran Venu Radharasudhaya Urayan Gopavrundaihi Vrindaranyam Swapadaramanam Pravishadgeetakirtihi Saundaryam Nijarudgatam Prakatitam Strigudabhavatmakam Pumrupancha Punastadantaragatam Pravivishatsvapriye Saunshlishtha uvayorbhavau rasamaya Krishno hi yatsakshikam Rupam tatritayatmakam paramabhi Dhyeyam sada vallabham Yamunatirakadambatalastam Shri Radharudayadharam Trivangalalita Krutimati Madhura Sajala Jaladharuchirochishnum Nijamurali Madhumadhurarava Vimohita Gopi Shatavitam Santatarasamati Pranamata Gopalam Jagatipalam Namami Shri Balakrishnam Yashodotsangalalitam Putana Supayapana Rakshita Sheshabalakam Pushtimarya Sarvagnaha Karuna Rasapuritaha श्रेष्ठफलप्रदाता च तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नमोऽस्तु ते व्यासविशालबुद्धे फुल्लारविन्दायतपत्रनेत्र येन त्वया भारततैलपूर्णः व्रजवालितो ज्ञानमयः प्रदीपः शुकरूपप्रबोधज्ञ सर्वशास्त्रविशारदः एतत्कथाप्रकाशेन मदज्ञानं विनाशय। कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकीनन्दनाय च नन्दगोपकुमाराय गोविन्दाय नमो नमः। श्री गोवर्धन नाथ की। On the day of Janmashtami, when Rak Sarang is being sung in front of Sri Thakurji, we sing a kirtan which says, Gwal deta hai heri ghar ghar. Now what does that mean? The Gwal, that means the residents of Vraja, they are the ones who are congratulating everyone in Vraj. They're going door to door and giving congratulations. They're giving this news that Bhagavan Shri Krishna has been born in Vraj, in Gokul. In that, the last line of the kirtan says, Pragatyo Kansako Beri, which means someone who is the enemy of the Lord. That's Kansa. So Kansa's enemy, Lord Krishna, has been born. And it is so said that the person who doesn't do Jaikar of Bhagavan becomes an enemy in the next birth. Please tell me the moral of this story. Thank you. Thank you. So if someone is reciting Lord's name, what are you supposed to do? You're supposed to do Jai. What if you don't do? You become Kans in next birth. See, you can have 7 births of being an enemy, 7 births of love or 3 births of being an enemy. What do you want? You want to be enemy of Lord for 3 births, or you want to be someone who can love Lord for 7 births? You don't need to answer this question to me right now. We have about 1 hour to reach there. So if we reach there, by that time you can give me the answer to this question. Okay? So the choice is yours, whether you want to be an enemy for 3 births, or you want to be someone who can love Lord for 7 births. Okay? The ball is in your court. We'll face some technical difficulties today. The tech is not going to support me today as much as it is supposed to. So me and Dharmesh Bhai are on a synchronization right now. So if he keeps coming over here, please don't feel bad. We are trying our level best to fix this situation in our best possible capacity. I'm grateful to Chaitanya Bhai for introducing me. I'll give an answer to that introduction in about 2 hours from now. We'll learn from one of the characters, one of the patras in Shrimad Bhagwatam itself, what happens when someone is introduced and when people start talking about them. And let me tell you one thing, Chaitanya Bhai. Whatever you said in that, I think 30% of the things my mother or father wouldn't even know about it. Because I'm a firm believer of doing things on the side and just forgetting it. So, today you have opened my secrets to them. So, in short, if I'm saying Bhagwan ki jai, what are you supposed to say? If I say Govardhan Nath ki, thank you. So, what is the benefit of you saying the jai? Have you ever wondered why do you say Jai Shri Krishna? Huh? It's praise the God. Do you have any idea how did it evolve? It's like a substitute of a hello. For most of the people on the phone call, you don't have to say hello, you have to say Jai Shri Krishna. It's a rule, but why the rule? And how did that rule even come into existence? That whenever you greet someone, you're supposed to say Jai Shri Krishna. So there's a story behind it. We all know that we are Sevak of Sri Mahaprabhuji. And one fine day, Mahaprabhuji was going towards the east. That's towards the side of Puri, Jagannath Puri. And while he was nearby Jharkhand, he got a call through an Akashvani. So back in the days, Lord's way of communication was create silence around the globe and then say something from the skies, and everyone is wondering where is this sound coming from. And that's how Acharya Vallabh also got to know that Lord is asking me to come to Jatipura, which happens to be in Vraj, where Girirajji as a mountain is residing. And the very sweet, cute message conveyed that, hey, you know what, I'm living in Giriraj. I have 3 names. Try to find me and then establish my system of serving on the Giriraj itself. Fine, so from Jharkhand, now Mahaprabhuji is walking and reaching Uttar Pradesh and Rajasthan border, because that's where Vraj is situated. No cars, no helicopters, everything has to be done by feet. So the lotus feet of Mahaprabhuji leads him to Vraj, and just before the day they were supposed to meet Srinathji, it happens so that Sri Mahaprabhuji starts interacting with the people around and listens to all these stories that Srinathji might have done. Because till now Srinathji was like, you know what, you can't pray me until unless my Vallabh doesn't come and start the entire procedure. Till that time you can offer me only milk and curd and fruits, nothing more than that. And next day, Mahaprabhu Sri Vallabh, so if you can see the Chitraji over here, you can see some stones on the backside. It's the theme of Girirajji. Do you see it here? No, you don't see it here, but you definitely see it here. So if you see those blue patches on each of the sides, those are representing Girirajji, which is the mountain where Srinathji used to reside. Dillu છે કાંઈ? મારું છે, તમારું છે, કોનું છે? I'll tell you the story. You've got the essence of it. Till that time, Dharmesh Bhai will help me fix this, as mentioned earlier. So, now Mahaprabhuji is going to put his step on Girirajji. And it happens so that in Pushtimarg, in Vallabh Sampradaya, we don't unnecessarily go on Girirajji. Why? Because Girirajji is considered to be a devotee of Lord. It also happens to be the residence of Lord for almost 70 plus years. For 70 plus years, Girirajji mein Srinathji was situated. He was resident over there. He didn't do anything. No form of prayers were being offered to him. No form of seva was being done to him. He was just right there. Now, on the next day, when Sri Mahaprabhuji is about to put the step on Girirajji, he first asked for permission of Girirajji that, hey, I want to reach to Srinathji, where he is residing. Can you give me permission of actually stepping my foot on you? And Giriraj Ji is like, please do so. The minute Sri Mahaprabhuji puts his lotus feet on Giriraj Ji, he starts saying Jai Shri Krishna. And the minute he reaches the top, he stops saying that because that's when he actually sees the Lord. So in the process of ascending above, in the process of going upstairs, in the process of climbing the mountain, he was continuously saying Bhagavan Shri Krishna ni Jai Thai. And for a lot of people feel that the Shri element over there is of Mahalakshmi, but the truth to be told, the Shri element over there is of Shri Radhaji. In Pushti Marg, we are not so evidently open about Shri Swamini Ji, Shri Radhika Ji. Do you remember that small parrot that I showed you yesterday? Shukdev Ji? It is said that Shri Shukdev Ji also learnt about Shri Thakur Ji from Shri Radhika Ji, Shri Swamini Ji. And the beauty about this parrot is, right from the day of Janmashtami till the day of Radhashtami, just outside the Nij Mandir of Thakurji, a parrot is actually kept. It's an indication that Lord's Leelas are being sung and Radhashtami is going to be next. It's a sweet indication and reminder that after Janmashtami comes Radhashtami. See, in a lot of spaces and times, Pushti Marg won't be evidently telling you things. These are certain things that need to be explored. It's like you only value things once you have identified them yourself. Sometimes when our parents keep on telling us certain things, we don't value it. Or when some external person, when you pay, so I'll tell you one funny scenario. In my company, a couple of people paid some good amount of money to learn at Mind Valley. They had the ball time of their life over there. 2 days seminar and great amount of learnings. And one fine day I was just sitting with my notes and I was like, can you please guide me as to what they taught you? And I was like, oh, I already know this. I know this. Acha, this is from here. Oh, this scripture talks about this. And I realized that 80% of the curriculum, apart from the tech part of it, was more or less from Yoga Sutras or from Bhagwatam or from Bhagavad Gita or from the scriptures that we already had. Till that extent that they were also talking about something like this. How do you connect with the cosmos of the universe? And I was like, bro, ye to mere ko aata hai. And how much did you pay for it? He said $2,000. I'm like, that's not even the cost of my iPhone, by the way. So I felt so nice when I heard him saying such things to me, and I was like, wow. That you are paying millions of dollars to get that segment of information which has originated from the eastern side of the world. You go to the western, and just because it has been packaged in a nicer way, you try to get those things back. India मार्च है हमेशा पैकेजिंग में खाती थी. We were a self-reliant, self-sufficient country. We had people who were aspirational, and they were the ones to go out, step their foot outside of this nation and explore a different country altogether. That's why we see Middle East being dominated by Indians. But we never went as warriors. We always went as merchants. And if not merchants, we went as learned. Swadeshe pujyate rajan vidwan sarvatra pujyate. In your own homeland, your king is worshipped. But when a vidwan goes outside, he's worshipped everywhere across the globe. Because he's a learned human being. Let's talk about theory of creation. Something that you guys propounded yesterday, that there were two particles and they collided against each other, and eventually there was a blast which landed up being a Big Bang theory. Now my question to you is, what were these two particles? Stephen Hawking, one of the finest logical brains, very calm and composed minds in the world, who happened to be very funny at the same time. Scientists are a very serious segment of people. So Stephen Hawking has his own segment of humor. He was a humorous human being. And black holes is one of the discovery that has also been done by Stephen Hawking. Now my question is, what are those two particles? And I have enough time today. I have zero worry even if I have to do 4 chapters today. I won't ask you much questions today, relax. But this is one of those limited questions. What were those two initial particles? A, બે તત્વ કયા હતા જેના કારણે આ collision થયું હતું? What are the two elements that collided against each other? And the second question is, how did they come even into existence? If you are saying that the world was a vacuum once upon a time, what caused them to be there? Okay. Who got them there? Or how did they come into existence? The Big Bang is the after effect of it, right? There has to be a cause, right? The theory of causation is very well explained by Vallabh Vedant. We're blessed, this generation is blessed to have a scholar like Goswami Shyam Manorji, who has command over French, Chinese, English, Gujarati, Sanskrit, Hindi, Marathi, Urdu, Arabic, and whatnot languages. When he takes lectures in university about theory of causations, most of the students have goosebumps. Because metaphysics and physics is being aligned together. Sure? But that's us saying it, right? That's us saying it. That's the Eastern saying it. Vishwasya anu iti Vishnu. What about the Eastern? What about the Westerners? Where is their research about what are those two particles? I gave you the answer yesterday itself. Ahameva sameva agre. Even when there was nothing, I was there. Now you can propound it in two different concepts. There was an element called Brahma. Now look at the beauty of our Upanishads. What does the Upanishad say? Sa ekaki naramate, sa dvitiyam echat. I'm not alone. I want to play. In order to play, I have to multiply. Now what is Brahma doing? Brahma itself is creating another format of Akshar Brahma. And now Akshar Brahma is getting split. And now you have your two elements ready. Blast. Now, according to science, after there was a blast, what was the first thing that was made? Carbon. Now, what does the Eastern world think about it? For anything to have, for a matter to sustain anywhere, the first thing that you need is space. And that's why the Easterners believe it in this format. It refers to Tata Akasha Sambhuta. The first element that got made was space. Akash is merely translated as sky, but it's not so. It's also space. From the space came the wind. Akashat Vayuhu. You need a blanket in order to have things to station at a particular place. Along with that came, from the Vayu, from the wind came the air, came the fire. So you take Mars, you take Mercury, or you take Earth for a matter of fact, or even if you take Sun, they have magma and lava in it. They have fire in it by itself. After the fire was the water, apaha. Agnehe apaha. And after water was made Prithvi. Now, think from your logical mindset. Can you calculate the amount of space that is there in Prithvi? And can you calculate the amount of space which is there in the space itself? I can calculate Prithvi's circumference. I can calculate Prithvi's weight. I can calculate Prithvi's area. I can calculate the amount of water which is there on the Prithvi. I can calculate the amount of land that is there on Prithvi. Can you calculate space? And that's why it is said Akasha Ananta. The space is limitless. And the theory of causation doesn't even deny that there could be a vacuum as well. Any form of creation is a possibility, and Shuddha Dvait, the theory of pure dualism, doesn't deny the fact that there can't be a vacuum. જે વ્યક્તિ વિશ્વ બનાવી શકે છે એ વેક્યુમ પણ રાખી શકે છે. As simple as that. So fair and square, time and time, there have been scenarios wherein mathematicians have gone through Aryabhatta's method. Even if you talk about Pythagoras' theorem, which people claim to be propounded by the Westerners first, have been actually originated in the Indian space before. You talk about, you can interact with Ashok Bhai over here. He's an expert in this area and field. He'll explain you how a Yagna Kund, which is square, will have the same square area as a circle and as the same square area as a triangle as well. So the forms of the Yagna Kund are changing, but the square area remains the same. The entire methodology was there in the Vedic culture. Now, the biggest question that comes in life, what is chicken made first, or the hen made first, or the egg came first? Well, my question to you is, what did Lord make first? In the living identities, what do you think was made first? These were natural elements, right? Prithvi, Jal, Tej, Vayu, Akash. Pancha Mahabhut is what we call them. But after that, what did Lord make first?
Creatures in the water.
Even before he made creatures in the water, he ensured what is supposed to be eaten is made first. Plants. Aushadhi, to be precise. Even before mankind is made, what is supposed to be consumed by the mankind is made first. You initiate a business, technically people are now talking about what's your burn rate. How much are you spending? Because the current format of businesses are, you burn X amount of money right now, eventually you'll start getting returns. Lord is not of that nature. He's not creating a burn rate concept. He's ensured that there's enough food which is there for the sustained environment which is being made at that given point of time. And we talk about this one theory called theory of evolution. That the elements in the water were made first. And later on, all the amphibians got evolved. So yeah, you have the Matsya coming first, then the tortoise, then the boar, then the Narsimha, then the Vamana. So it has been compared with, the Darwin's theory has been compared with the theory in Vishnu Puran as well. So in Vishnu Puran, it starts with Matsya avatar, then goes to Kurma, then goes to Varaha, then goes to Narsimha, then goes to Vaman and Parshuram and Ram, etc. But then there's one major claim which is made by science that, hey, you know what, humans have evolved from monkeys. How do we solve that? Were your ancestors monkeys? If your ancestors were monkeys, then I have this one question. This Yogesh Maharaj keeps on reciting Gotrotpannaha, and then he makes you say Parashar Gotrotpannoham. Oh, sorry, Parashar, not Parashar, Parashar Gotrotpannoham. Parasharya Gotrotpannoham. When we are there, we say Vatsas Gotrotpannoham. What is this Gotra all about then? Parashar છે ને તમારું પરાશર છે કે પારાશર્ય છે કયું છે પારાશર્ય છે ને હા પારાશર્ય. See, Sanskrit is a very funny language. Yeah? Father and the son might have similar segment of names. Like in Mahabharat, Sagar's children are called Sagar. But in Mahabharat, Sagar children are not called Sagar. So that's why confirming the Rishi Muni is very important. Why do you think this Gotra? What's the science behind this Gotra? It's an identification of who your ancestors are at the end of the day. Now what happens for all those people who don't have a Gotra? So are you descendants of monkeys? See, this is where the conflict between the Easterners and the Westerners happen. We are not denying Ice Age. We are not denying dinosaurs. We are not denying mammoths. We are not denying anything which is unusual. Dharma is very open to it. It's the science and history that is restricted towards the Dharma. તમને પુષ્ટિ મારી વૈષ્ણવ કોઈ ઓબ્જેક્શન નહીં આપે કે you know what, we have a problem when you say that we had an ice age. It's Lord's land. There might have been natural calamities because of which ice age would have been possible. We accept the fact and move on. Science is proving it even better. We don't need to fight with you anymore. Till that extent that if Jains claim that, you know, your Krishna is living in hell right now, we Vaishnavas are so open that હા ભગવાને દુનિયા બનાવી તો જાહન્નુમમાં હશે ને તોય અમને વાંધો નથી. જેના શ્રીચરણ કમલ are only hell, Patal is right in the lotus feet of Lord. Who are we to question that my Lord is not in hell? So here's where the Westerners and the Easterners, they don't match. They feel that our evolution has happened because of monkeys. See, we don't deny the fact that monkeys are the most advanced format of connection which could be next to humans. We don't deny that fact. But if you blatantly tell me that I'm not from a Gotra, my ancestors are monkeys, then I'm really sorry. I'm not here to agree to that fact. And the beauty about this entire scenario, first things first is that you are connected to a rishi, and these rishis also keep on changing. The 7 rishis for this era may not be the same for the next era. Everyone gets a turn. Tomorrow if you decide you want to be Indra as well, the religion is not stopping you. You are supposed to take enough efforts to become an Indra in the next birth. If you want to be a Brahma as well, you can be a Brahma. But then you'll have to identify which kind of a Brahma you are. Or which universe ka Brahma you are. Until now, we have been talking about Brahmanda. Brahmasya anda iti Brahmanda. Anda. Anda refers to the elliptical periphery which we have made, which is the which is the oval-based circular motion that has been evolved, where the planets keep on rotating. This has been prescribed in our scriptures. And we are thankful to this Rishi called Kanad, who gave us the Shastra called Vaisheshik, because of which we can understand the concept of Anu and Parmanu. Anu and Parmanu, the atomic theory was even propounded even before the Westerners could think about it. Now they are talking about electron, proton. I mean, maybe in the last 500 years they're talking about electrons, protons and neutrons. Prior to that, this Rishi Muni has already spoken about it. And what does he say? See what is he saying? Parmanu susukshmastu na chakshusha. Something that cannot be seen from my naked eyes, na chakshusha. This has been mentioned in Vayu Puran. As much as you need Western science to tell you all of these laws, you also need the Eastern perspective of it, that these things have already been propounded. And for anyone who has a little faith as well that India is a homeland which has all the sciences, you guys can subscribe for these two websites. One is called Sanskrit Bharati. Sanskrit Bharati has an entire compilation of what India as a homeland has in context with science. You talk about mixture of metals, you talk about navigation, you talk about navy, you talk about utilizing Shushrut's methodology of plastic surgery, you talk about astronomy, you talk about astrology, you talk about planetary systems, you talk about mathematics, you talk about Vedic mathematics, any of these things. You even talk about calculation of time. When there was no calculus, જ્યારે calci હતું પણ નહીં, we could calculate somewhere between 10 raised to minus 7 and 10 raised to 22, sorry, not 24, it's an error, 22. જે અમે મેથ્સમાં ભણીએ છીએ ને 2 cube 8, 2 square 4, without having a calci, we could calculate 10 raised to 22. And we had our own methodology of calculating time. At times in Shastras, a lot of people say, Kshanam tishtha. Please wait for a moment. Now, what is this definition of moment? That is also being prescribed over here. There's a word called ghati. That's for 24 minutes. A muhurt, is for 48 minutes. This entire segment of calculation, even before you didn't have a time range, even 100 years ago, Janmabhoomi used to publish a Shatvarsh Panchanga. I can tell you when is the next Sankranti, not just by looking at Google. There are enough Panchang methodologies with which you can calculate the time, the sunrise, the sunset, the grahan and everything. It can be predicted for the next 100 years even without calculus. અને આ દુનિયાને શૂન્ય કોણે દીધું છે? It's our Aryabhat. Westerners teach you to learn numbers from the front, right? We learn numbers from the backwards. I'm sorry, Westerners teach you from reverse. They teach you 1, 2, 3. So let's just say if there is there's a 49,55,336, they like help you identify the numbers from the back, and then they'll make you say it from the front. We don't do it like that. The division of time is done in context with yuga. Yeah, the entire calculus is given. 15 days is Pakhwadiyu. Or in other words, you can even call it Paksha. Shukla Paksha and the Krishna Paksha. Why Shukla Paksha? Because the full moon is there at that given point of time. Why the Krishna Paksha? Because the moon is descending, it's reducing. There's new moon happening on the Amavas day. A compilation of 2 months can formulate a Ritu because there are 6 Ritus. There are not just 3 seasons, there are 6 seasons. We are always taught in geography that India is homeland of only 3 seasons. Summer, winter, rainy. Why? Where is autumn and spring? કેમ હેમંત અને વસંત ક્યાં ગઈ? And who are we to confine India in 3 seasons? You go to a different state, you have a different season. If that United States of America can have 5 time zones and Russia can have multiple time zones, we in India are still considerable enough because we didn't want people to face difficulties in communication. That's why 2 extreme ends of the world still considers 1 time slot. Whereas we all know that Kolkata has seen a sunset even before Mumbai. $432,000 of this one Kalyug. And whenever you want to calculate any other yug, okay, Kalyug is 432. You want Dwapar Yug multiplied by 2. You want Treta Yug multiplied by 3. You want Krata Yug or the Satya Yug, you multiplied by 4. And when you summate all of these things, you get 43,20,000 years. That's the calculation of all the 4 yugas going once. Then comes the calculation of Manvantar. When 71 times such cycle goes by, a Manvantar is done. And every Manvantar refers to a change in Manu. These Brahmins make you do a sankalp in the morning. Vishnor Vishnor Vishnu, Shrimad Bhagwato, Mahapurushasya, Vishnor Agnya, Pravartamanasya, Aditya Shri Brahmanaha. Then they tell you Dvitiye Parardhe. Shvetavaraha Kalpe. Which Kalpa are you in? The Kalpa is known by the name of Shvetavaraha. Which Manu is over here? Vaivasvat Manvantare. Ashtavimshatitame. 28th cycle of the Kalyug is going on right now. When did it start? The minute the lotus feet of Bhagavan Shri Krishna left this land, Kalyug stepped in. How many years? Somewhere some 5,200 years have passed by. How many more do you have? 4,26,000 and something. Which phase of Kalyuga are we in? Then it says Kalyuga Prathama Charane. It's still in the initial stage of Kalyug. Jains believe that we are in the ultimate stage of Kalyug. We believe we have just started, boss. Abhi to aur ganda dekhna. Then they also map you which location you are in. Bhurloke. Jambudvipe. Jambudvipe is this continent is called Jambudvipe. You go to the United States, they call it Plakshadweep over there. Whose Khand are you in? This was Bharat Raja's Khand, hence it is called Bharat Khande. Whose Varsh are you in? This was Bharat Raja's Varsha, Bharat Varsha. Which avatar was the last one? Bauddha avatar. I was told that the family is very observant while you are doing a puja. This is the sankalp. You are giving assurance of your time, location, frame, mindset. Till that extent, if Brahmins are in mood, they'll also tell you which nadi is in the north, which nadi is in the south, which nadi is in the east. In Mumbapuriyam Nagare Sthite, where exactly? They'll also say Orient Club. GPS તો પાછળનું અમારું લાઈવ GPS હતું ભગવાન માટેનું. You're confirming your location. Reason being the source wants to know where is this coming from. It same happens with Brahmaji trying to enter and meet Lord at that given point of time in 10th canto, wherein a Brahma tries to meet the Lord, or you know, you might have heard it from somewhere else. So the Brahmaji asks, Bhai, tu kidhar ka Brahma hai? Which Brahma are you? A Brahma is like there are multiple such Brahmas. And that's where in the 10th canto Brahmaji sees multiple Brahmas as well. And then comes your kalpa. The calculation of kalpa, look at the kalpa. 4.32 billion years. If you want to Google right now, how many years old is Big Bang Theory? Should I do it? Let's just see if it's older than our kalpa or not. Yeah, let's just demonstrate it live. For the first time in Katha, I'll go Google. I'll go on Google right now and do it. This is taking time, but anyway. Yeah, let's just do some homework. Yeah. How old is Big Bang Theory? The answer is already here. We've got 13.7 billion years. And do you know one thing? That after every transition of, this kalpa, the Shrishti is remade. Now people have a concern that how can the Shrishti be remade? The Vedas answer that question, that the Lord makes Brahma and it's Brahma's responsibility to make the world as it was. So the constituency and the format remains the same, the characters might change. Example, Saptarshi formats might change. Name of Manus might change. The Leelas and the avatars in that particular yug might change. But the avatars are still going to remain the same. One of the other reasons why there have not just been one Krishna avatar, there have been multiple Krishna avatars. તમે મેટાવર્સની હમણાં વાત કરો છો, અમારું મેટાવર્સ તો વર્ષોથી છે. A parallel universe for us has been existing since eons. Eons is what I'm using. So many times NASA has identified celestial objects that they couldn't identify, and they were saying that they are aliens. For us, this Prithvi itself is not the only lok. For us, there is 7 lok above and there is 7 lok below. Bhu, Bhuva, Swaha, Maha, Jana, Tapa, Satya. 7 loks above. કોઈકમાં પિતૃ છે, કોઈકમાં ગાંધર્વ છે, કોઈકમાં યક્ષ છે. And their swarups are not known to us directly. And this is the summation of the calculation of time. If you see, as I mentioned, Vaivasvat Manu, that's what we were talking about. And if it is, if you can just see to the duration of 100 years of Brahma, I can't just calculate zeros. I think it's beyond the bank balance of Mr. Mukesh Ambani as well, to be very honest. Zero gana se nahi, tu gan. And this was our gift to the universe, thanks to this one human being called Aryabhat, because he gave us 0. Now since Brahma is made, and Brahma now decides that, you know what, even I need to create universe, I need to create people. So the first children that are born, Sanakam, Sanandam, Sanatan, those are your Sanat Kumars, basically. And now Sanat Kumars are requested, please create the world further. Sanat Kumars are like, sorry, we are brahmacharis, we are not going to do it. And that's why Sanat Kumars are known as Hari Kirtana Tatparaha. They are always engaged in Bhagwan ka Kirtan. So they're like, Brahmaji, sorry, you are our father, but we are going to disobey you. Tyare dikrao no mane, hamna su no mane, hamna no j mane na. It's not a no-wise thing that your child is not listening to you. Even Sanat Kumars didn't do it. But they had a bigger purpose to achieve. Yeah, the bigger purpose was to achieve Thakurji. So keeping that in mind, the next incarnation from Brahma was Rudra. Why Rudra? Because the minute the baby was born, the baby was crying. And Brahmaji had to assure, you'll have, your wives will have 11 names, you'll have 11 places to live. And that's why Ekadash Rudra. Out of the 33 types of God, Ekadash are Rudra, Dwadash are Aditya, 8 is Vasu. And then and then Shivji started making had his own segment of creation. And what did he make? What did Shivji make? No. Bhoot Pishach nikat nahi aave, Mahavir jab naam sunaave. He started making Bhoot, Pret, Pishach. Why? Because Rudra is the Adhisthata of Tamas as an energy. I had mentioned some time ago that, the the third eye of the Shiva will open up and, everything will get destroyed because Shiva represents Tamas. And Tamas refers to anger. Who killed Ganesh ji? Ganesh ji ne kore marela? बापा दिकरानो बात कर लो. Because he couldn't identify who is he. He was protecting his mother, but he couldn't identify who is the father. કોણ મારેલું ગણેશજીનો જે મનુષ્ય સ્વરૂપ હતું? Shivji is Raudra. The Raudra avatar of Shiv itself, and this will be proved in the Skand after this as well. You listen to Pushpadanta Stuti as well to Shiva. Shiva is also known as Kalyan, by the way. You want Bhog in life, you have to go to Shiva. You want Moksha, you need to go to Vishnu. And we feel that Shivji is such, weird, has a snake and has a Chandra and doesn't wear proper clothes and has animal skin and all of these things. He doesn't care about lifestyle. He's Bairagi Baba. He doesn't need to match his ornaments as per his clothes. He's so chilled in life that one fine day Parvati is asking, can you please take a bath? He's like, okay fine, give me bhasma. Because bhasma snan is one of the ways of having a bath. And here in our life, if we don't get a proper temperature water, we feel so irritated. Our entire day is like, oh, barabar pani no tu aaja. So Brahmaji realized, you know what, let's not trouble Shivji as well. Let's create the rishis. So then 10 rishis eventually take birth. Marichi, Angiras, Pulastya. Pulastya is, please go ahead. Yeah, sure. Tell me the question. Yeah, we will answer that 99% today or tomorrow. So I remember that question. We'll answer that today or tomorrow. Yeah, one of the initial factors was the anger part, so part of the answers today. The part of the answer we'll try to answer today or tomorrow, either of the time. Yeah, thank you for the reminder. Really appreciate it. So this Pulastya is the grandfather of Ravan. Who was the Ravan? Who was the Ravan? Rakshas, Asur. Who was he? He was a Pandit for sure. He was a Pandit for sure. Trikal Gnani, had a lot of knowledge, did Sandhya, no questions asked around it. But look at the root. The root is that the grandfather is actually a Rishi. And this very same Pulastya Rishi is the cause behind Giriraj Ji not going to Kashi but coming to Jatipura. Pulastya Rishi was so powerful that he actually took entire Giriraj Ji in his hand. And there was a challenge between both of them. We'll try to understand that on some other day. But these rishis are not normal. That's what I'm trying to tell you. The Bhrigu Rishi, which has been mentioned over here, Bhrigu Rishi is someone who is the one who tests the three Dev, the Brahma, Vishnu, and the Mahesh. And the last one is Narad. Narad is also Bhagwan ka avatar, by the way. Then comes the four Vedas and the Upavedas. Rug, Yajur, Sam and Atharva. And similarly you have the four Upaveda, Gandharva Veda, Dhanurved, Ayurved, and the Atharva Ved itself as an Artha Shastra. And that's why Lord is also known by the name of Vedakarta. Now Brahmaji decides, you know what, I need to create humans in a particular format. Hence, he creates Manu and Shatrupa. Now, most of the times when a son and a daughter are born together, you will consider them brothers and sisters. But biologically over here, Manu and Shatrupa are married. And through them, they have Priyavrat and Uttanpad, which are brothers. Akuti, Devhuti and Prasuti, which are the daughters, the sisters. The sons and the daughters. Why this entire conversation is going to happen? Because we are now going to learn more about someone called as Yagna Varaha. One of the Dashavatars of Vishnu. See, in Bhagwatam, no katha directly starts. There's a question about the Swarup, and there's an answer or an entire perspective given around that one entire Swarup. So here Vidurji is asking, there was a small form of boar that came out of Brahmaji's nostril. Can you please tell me more about it? Brahmaji na nasika mati ek varaha આવ્યો હતો. તમે please મને એની વાર્તા કહેશો? And what is the size of it? Angushta of a thumb. Now, why this entire story comes into the picture? They talk about someone called as Diti. Now, Kashyap is a Muni. Kashyap has married to Aditi, Diti, and multiple such women. Now, why was Kashyap given such a responsibility? Kashyap, who married to Aditi, got Aditya. And Aditya also refers to Devatas. Santan of Aditi are called Aditya. And Santan of Diti, children of Diti, are called Daitya. તો બોલો ઘરમાં કોણ જોવે છે? દૈત્ય જોવે છે કે આદિત્ય જોવે છે? ઘણા દૈત્ય જોવે છે કે કઈ બેઉ નથી જોઈતા, જે છે એ ઓલરેડી ઓછા છે. All I'm trying to say is Diti had a desire of consuming with Kashyap Rishi at a time slot which was evening. Kashyap told him no, but still she insisted on it. And since she insisted on it during the evening time slot, she landed up committing certain sins. But since she had a thought about that what I've incurred is incorrect and this needs to be rectified, she was also given a boon for the same. Now, the entire story goes something like this. Sanat Kumars, all the four brothers, were trying to meet and seek the Lord Vishnu in his Golok. Since Sanat Kumar had certain format of elements, they had certain segment of qualities. Sanak, Sanatan, Sanandan and Sanat Kumar, all these four brothers, were slowly and steadily from Prithvi, were ascending towards the lok where Vishnu was living. While that was happening, they were stopped by Jai and Vijay. Who are these Jai and Vijay? They are considered as doorkeepers. Now, Jai and Vijay happened to stop them. stating that you cannot meet the Lord. And what happens when you obstruct certain segment of people? It happened so that they offended Sanat Kumar, and Sanat Kumar on the other side gave them a curse. What was the curse? You will, no, not the yoni of Rakshas. You will have to take birth on planet Earth. Since you have been merciful, you have asked for mercy, there are two ways that you can achieve this. Either you become an enemy of the Lord 3 times, or you love Lord for 7 times. Which birth would you like to take? If you were Jai and Vijay, what would you do? તમે જય અને વિજય હોત, તમારે 3 જન્મ લેવાના હોય વૈરના, શત્રુના, અને 7 જન્મ લેવાના હોય મિત્રતાના, પ્રેમના. Would you take 7 of love or 3 of hatred? The question is for you. I'll give you 30 seconds to think and then give me an answer. You take 7 of love? Fair. આનો કોઈ સાચો અને ખોટો આન્સર નથી. There's no right or wrong to it. So feel free to tell me whether would you like to take 3 births of enmity or would you like to take 7 births of love? Yeah, you have to choose one. 3 versus 7. You would take 3 births of enmity, fair. અને ઓલા સાતમા નથી? Maybe. Acha. Nice. Very well thought. Tell me one thing, what happens when Lord is killing you? Lord is killing you. I hope now we have understood the difference between God and Lord since our yesterday's conversation. He's washing your sins, okay. You merge in God, fair. You get moksha. So now are people motivated to be enemies of God? સીધો મોક્ષનો દરવાજો ને, ભગવાનના શત્રુ બન્યા, ભગવાન મારવા આવ્યા, સીધો મોક્ષનો દરવાજો. Jai and Vijay were like, hey, you know what? I cannot accept 7 births distance. I need to finish it off in 3. But now, please observe this. In which Yuga was Varaha Avatar? In which Yuga was Narsimha Avatar? In which Yuga was Rama Avatar? And in which Yuga was Krishna Avatar? મેબી કદાચ 7 જન્મ લીધા હોત તો એક જ યુગમાં કામ થઈ ગયું હોત. Hence, they took the path of 3 births. They're like, instead of being in 7 births of love, let's be in 3 births of hatred. At least Lord will have to compulsorily come down to liberate us. That's what their intention was. So if you have the guts to go ahead with it, why not? Please do so. But then understand one thing, the amount of time and duration that you have to spend on earth without the Lord itself is a bigger problem. And see, this katha is nice for people who are fans of Krishna. Okay, or who intend to be fans of Krishna, who intend to fall in love with the process of Krishna, in the thought of Krishna, in the seva of Krishna, in the naam of Krishna. Otherwise, listening to Bhagwatam is considered to be Shrama eva hi kevalam. You are just listening to Bhagwat Saptah for the sake of it. I am not saying this. The introductory chapter of Shrimad Bhagwatam itself says it. That any form of effort that you take, which is not in context in falling in love with Lord, is mere an attempt. You are just taking physical steps. There is zero intent in it. You are just punishing your body to do this. And what happens when a servant makes a mistake? Managerial concept, right? This is what you have learned in managerial skills. What happens when an employee does the mistake? Who's responsible for it? The management, the manager to be precise. That's exactly the principle that you can learn from him, from Bhagwan as well. He is coming down to Sanat Kumar and seeking, I have made the mistake. These are my segment of people. Brahmin should never be, disrespected. You have been really gracious on me. I get so happy when a Brahmin is fed in comparison to an entire yagna being conducted. The whole concept of Brahma Bhojan, that you call and invite a Brahmin to your house and you feed that Brahmin, is because your Lord himself is saying that when you feed a Brahmin, I feel more happier and content in comparison to you performing an entire yagna. And these Dwarpal represent me. They have made an error. It's my commitment. It's my issue. It's my responsibility. I'm really sorry. And because of this grace, the option was given for 3 births or 7 births, and eventually they chose 3. To which eventually Diti, because she committed some sins, she was blessed with 2 children, and they were by the name of Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyaksha represents greed for wealth, and Kashipu represents greed for power. Aksha refers to eyes. The greed can literally be seen from eyes. All those people who are very good at pretending, let me tell you one thing, eyes don't lie. And there are some blessed people in this world they'll read your eye and they'll understand you. They don't need to do any NLP. They don't need to see at any body language. They don't need to see how you talk. They just look into your eye and they understand how much in water you are. They won't say anything to you, evidently. Because the biggest quality of a noble person is silence. The smartest guy in the room won't speak much. Will always be a great listener and will ensure that his eyes can capture the information that nobody can. And that's just by looking at the opposite person's eyes. Is this human being judgmental? Absolutely not. Because he has zero intent of getting anything from you. There's a difference between gauging and judging, by the way. I hope you guys know this. Judging someone is to develop a taste and a thought and a perspective about someone. Gauging someone is accepting the way they are. If you see that their eyes are tired, you just accept that their eyes are tired. You don't start contemplating what might have happened to them. Acceptance of as they are is gauging. And judgmental adds your flavor. The kind of clothes he wears, the kinds of conversation he has. Oh God, he's such a pain. Blah, blah, blah. You start giving meaning to elements. પૂછેલું તમને કોઈએ માંગેલી તમારી સલાહ માંગેલો તમારો advice. And live by this principle. The grass is always greener on the other side. Now what does this Hiranyaks do? Hiranyaks is like, you know what, I'm going to capture this planet Earth and I'm going to submerge it in water. So Hiranyaks is mighty and decides, fine, you know what, I'm going to captivate the entire planet Earth, captivates the entire planet Earth, ensures that the Earth is in water. Now comes the problem, how do we identify whether the Earth is in water or not? What's the format of CID that we can do? How can we track this information? How can we track this information that the water, the sea where where the earth has been taken, is it actually there or is it misplaced somewhere else? Or is it being kept somewhere else? I want to teach you Darshan Shastra right now in like next 2 minutes. Do you guys know what is Darshan Shastra? Heard of it? Vedic scriptures, in order to study them, you would like to conclude them in a certain way. So, for example, there's a concept called Nyaya, which means logic and not justice, by the way. A lot of people feel Nyaya is justice, but Nyaya is also logic. Okay. Please tell me one thing, can there be smoke without fire? Please think it through. आग वगर धुमाड़ो होए? Okay. The smoke in the city or the smog in the city, how is it being emitted? There's a fog which is being mixed with the smoke. Where is this smoke coming from? That means something is burning. So is there a possibility that there can be a smoke without a fire? How? How can there be smoke without fire? On similar grounds, in order to identify earth, earth has a quality called gandha. Earth has a peculiar smell. In order to identify this smell, out of all the formats that were available in terms of animals, Lord chose to be a Varaha because of two reasons. A, the nasal could identify where the earth was. And second, the tusk could actually ensure that the earth is going to be taken care of. Because in order to get the earth from water, you need something to hold. And if you see, he's supposed to fight. So Yagnavara eventually starts fighting with Hiranyaksh. And Hiranyaksh eventually is killed. What is the moral of the story? Feels like I'm a teacher explaining you things right now. What is the moral of the story? Cool, we'll keep moral of the story for the next katha. Yeah, why should I give everything in this katha? I haven't signed any contract to give you all forms of information in this katha. I'm really sorry. I'm not bound by it. I'm bound by my own law, my wish and my Lord's wish. So I'm sorry. We'll talk about the moral of the story in the next katha. So yeah, the creation process goes further. And now Brahmaji decides that, you know what, I need a wonderful boy and I need a wonderful boy who can create who can take this responsibility of creation further. And it happens so that Brahmaji now has a son called Kardam. And Kardam is a rishi. When he was instructed that, you know what, you are supposed to now procreate and you need to create you need to have children. The biggest question mark that came to him was, where's the girl? Chokri kahan dilaun? Most of the times in the history we have heard is a lady doing tapa in order to get a guy. Bhagavad is the story of inverse. Here, Kardam Rishi is actually doing austerities. He's getting himself into tapa. He's doing meditation just for one reason, so that he gets a good wife. And if you remember those three sisters, Akuti, Dehuti, Prasuti, And it happens so that Devhuti Numangu comes from Kardam Rishi. As much as we say that couples are made in heaven, or the rishtas are made in heaven, here you need Brahmaji's blessings in order to get such a good wife. And that's why Kardam Rishi marries Devhuti. Now see, I am not married, so I don't know much about Grihasthashram. But as much as I know, after reading about Kardam Rishi and Devhuti ensured that she took care of everything that Kardam Rishi wanted. Though late, Kardam Rishi acknowledged everything that was done by Devhuti. Eventually, after years have passed by, Devhuti is asking Kardam Rishi is asking Devhuti, do you want something in return? I'm extremely pleased with what you have done for me. Would you like to have something in return? She's like, what's the point now? We've already passed our life. We're too old to enjoy now. Guess what was the gift that Kardam Rishi gave to Devhuti? Plane to pachi આવ્યો. Spa. જાઓ જઈને જલાશયમાં સ્નાન કરીને આવો. First nourish yourself, lady. Then I'll take you for a ride. જલમાં જઈને સ્નાન કરાવડાવ્યું. શા માટે? તો કે જે તરુણનો જે દેહ હતો, જે યંગસ્ટરની બોડી હતી, જે યંગસ્ટરનું સ્પિરિટ હતું, that was supposed to be gained again. See, we feel that spa culture is something recent. Oh, spa culture was there in Bhagwat's time as well. There was certain segment of women who smelled in a certain format. If you might have heard of Matsya Gandha, or if you might have even heard of someone who would smell like a lotus. So, the point being, spa na karane, it's because of the spa. Now, Devhuti has got her desired body. And now, because of his yogic powers, Kardam Rishi has created a plane. A plane which can go beyond the orbit of the earth as well. And till this day, a lot of research is happening on how planes were made back in the days. We all know about Ravan also having a plane, Pushpak. So the science of planes has been progressive. Even when Westerners couldn't think about it, we still had it. And what was the fuel required in this plane? The yogic power of Kardam Rishi. All his mantra bal was essential over here. After certain years, Kardam Rishi and Devhuti were blessed with someone called as Kapil. Who is this Kapil? Kapil Muni is the one who has propounded the principles for Sankhya. त्रिजो स्कंद चौथो अध्याय छठो श्लोक. तस्याम बहुतिथे काले भगवान मधुसूदनः कार्दमम वीर्यमापन्नो. 24मो अध्याय छठो श्लोक. Kapil Bhagwan, Kapil Muni, someone who talks about Sankhya. In other words, he talks about the theory of elements. He conveys the principle of theory of elements. There's a conversation happening between the mother and the son. Generally, it is a trend that the child is trying to gain knowledge from the mother. But this is Bhagavad Kal. The reverse is also possible. I've changed my connector as well. મારે રાસવાલા સાથે રમવા છે ઢોલી ઢોલ વગાડો મારે આંગણી. I think it's done. Hopefully it's done. Okay, fair. Works. Absolutely works. आज शुभ दिन आयो मारे आंगणी. As much as we don't use music in our kathana, I'm a great fanatic of music as well. But it's just that since 15 generations, we've never used musical instruments in our katha. Because imagine this, when I am speaking, I'm still not crossed third skand. I still have to go till seventh skand. Imagine how much amount of time music takes up during katha. I'm trying to explain you concepts from different shastras which helps us understand Bhagavad. We're now entering a zone called as Sankhya. And most of the times we might feel that, how is it logical for a youngster to be touched feet upon? We are elders, why should we touch a youngster? Why should we pay respect to a youngster? You're the mother, Devhuti, biological son. You know what is she saying? She's saying, Tvam tva gatam sharanam sharanyam. I am taking shelter in your lotus feet. Why am I taking the shelter in your lotus feet? Because son, you are that X which can cut my materialistic experiences. The materialistic tree in existence, you can cut it off. You are that level of an X. And you are the one who is going to help me understand the concept of Prakriti and Purush. The Westerners, Adam and Eve concept thi jaane chhe. Over here it is known by the concept of Prakriti and Purush. Which elements are we talking about? The calculation is of 25 elements. Sankhya is nothing but calculation of elements. The 5 basic elements that you mentioned earlier. It starts from Akash, so sky. Vayu, that's air. Fire. Fire leads to water and water leads to earth. They've given in the reverse format over here. The 5 senses, the 5 actions that can be done: smell, taste, form, touch, and words. These are called 5 tanmatras. These tanmatras, who can achieve them? Who's the one performing the tanmatras? So the jnanendriyas are the ones that are doing it for you. Your ears can listen. The experience of listening is through ears. The identification of touch is through skin. Recognizing an object is through eyes. Understanding the taste is through tongue. And getting to know whether this is a Calvin Klein or a Davidoff is through nose. Or getting to know whether this is Hina, Kasturi, Sondha, that is through nose. There's a difference between smell and fragrance. Durgandha, Sugandha. Everything is not smelling, something is fragrant. And then comes your 5 indriyas which are performing action. Your hands, your limbs, your speech, and your excretory body parts, which ensures that the negatives are going out, the leftovers are going out from your body. So 5 Panchmabhut, 5 Tanmatra, 5 Jnanendriya, 5 Karmendriya leads to 20. And that comes the Antakkaran. And despite English being a poor language, it still gave me 4 words. Man, Buddhi, Chit, Ahankar. It's mind, intellect, conscience, and ego. You will be surprised that these 4 elements are so interlinked with each other. Like example, tomorrow is Ekadashi. You have to prepare your mind that you're supposed to fast. But the intellect is like, I've done so many Ekadashis, I don't want to do Ekadashi anymore. So your intellect doesn't want to do Ekadashi. But when someone will try to offer you pawa or bread, your conscience will stop you. Oh no, today is Ekadashi. And the ultimate doer, the decision maker, is your ego, which has intellect and conscience put together, but will decide what he or she wants to do. So it's not just the mind that actually communicates. There is an intellect and a conscience continuously fighting with each other. Most of the times, ladies and gentlemen, please tell me this thing. Don't you have this gumption or this feeling that your heart is saying something and your brain is saying something? તમારું મન કંઈક કહી રહ્યું છે અને તમારો હૃદય કંઈક કહી રહ્યું હોય છે. તમારા જ મગજમાં 2 અલગ જાતના અવાજ ચાલી રહ્યા હોય છે. There are 2 voices in your own brain. કોની સાંભળવાની? મનની, બુદ્ધિની, ચિત્તની કે અહંકારની? માઇન્ડની, ઇન્ટેલેક્ટની, કોન્શિયન્સની કે ઈગોની? મન કહેશે ચલો ચોપાટીએ જવું છે. Your mind might tell you, let's go to Paris. Do you want to go to Paris right now? What will your intellect say? Oh, the flights are too costly. The conscience will tell you, the weather here is nice, I don't need to go there. But the ego, I want to show on my Instagram snap story, I went to Paris. So these are 4. What is the last one? Man, Buddhi, Chit, Ahankar. That's mind, intellect, conscience, and ego. The biggest question that you all should have by this time, do you really know yourself? Sankhya is all about identifying yourself and understanding yourself. Yeah, you talk about the power of subconscious mind, right? That's the book that we talk about. Or the lost found, or which is the other one? The healing one, I forgot, it's a yellow cover. It talks about healing your broken mind and things like that. So, at any given place in time, if you talk about something that you have to be victorious or something that you have to win, is always going to be your mind. You talk about concentration and focus, right? How can you make it possible? Only if you control your mind. The biggest complaint of this generation is while I'm meditating, I'm getting thoughts. Arey boss, but you are supposed to get thoughts. You can't become thoughtless in first day. Rishi, Muni, Siddha, Purush, Santa, Mahatmas have taken years and years and years of practice just to ensure that they become thoughtless. In case if you're thinking that I have to be thoughtless, 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 itself is a thought. In order to achieve nothingness, you require detachment, and it comes with only time. It comes with Kal. There are certain things that only time can teach you. It's only the matter of realization that can happen after time that time can teach you something. Now tell me one thing, should we pollute any of these elements? Imagine you polluting any of these one element. Imagine if what happens when you pollute water. What happens when you pollute water? You all have gone to Yamuna Ji, you all have gone to Mathura, you all have gone to Gokul. You're seeing the halat of Yamuna Ji right now. One entire ministry was made under Modi's government just to clean Ganga. Under the Prime Minister's government, Modi Ji's government. And they're still cleaning it only. Millions of money have been raised for cleaning them. But it took 8 years of efforts for them to start actually initiating such projects. Prior to this, just people were talking about tenders. We were that one country who had never to worry about water. Now let me tell you, one of the initial most governments of India, the independent government of India back in the days, the first 5 years of initial independence, there was a project which was proposed to the then Prime Minister of India for connecting all the rivers in India. Look at the Brahmaputra massacre that takes place every year. People in Assam are habituated to hear that people have died because of the floods. A proposal was conferred to the Prime Minister of this country stating that please connect the rivers. Look what happened in Gujarat eventually. Where is your Narmada connected to? How is Sabarmati connected? Look at what is happening to the water there. It's changed. Look at the organizations like Art of Living and Isha Foundation, the kind of work they've done in South. They've revived more than 12 rivers and rivulets. We talk about idea of India, we talk about made in India. Why don't we first take care of our own rivers first? Because rivers are our mothers. કાવેરી નદીનું પાણી જ્યારે આવે છે ને ત્યારના ખેડૂતો ચરણ સ્પર્શ કરીને દંડવત કરવા જાય છે કાવેરી નદીને. એક બાજુ ગંગાને માં અને યમુનાને મૈયા કહીએ છે. I'll take 25 elements, I'll take 25 hours to explain you all those 25 elements. It's that deep rooted. This is why understanding Sankhya is important, because we don't value what we get for free. And that's water. And then people say, hey, but we do religious activities and we pollute our rivers. Religious activities contribute to 2% pollution of the rivers in comparison to the industrial waste that is going inside. Now please tell me, who's the culprit here? 2% or the 30% which is being done by industrial wastage that is going inside? And our government is kind enough to now create Nirmalya centers at any given destination, religious destination, where you have to, dump your asthis, or you have to dump your all flowers and all those things. It's taking some efforts. Prior to 2014, no one was taking these efforts. In Sankhya is also complementary to something called as yoga. And that's why the process of Ashtanga yoga also becomes a part of it. And this is one line which I like to, get it on a portrait in my house. Because this is the same philosophy, Swadharma charanam shaktya vidharmacha nivartanam. Follow your duties and responsibilities till you can and stop doing things that are not essential. Stop doing things that are anti-dharmic. If you have achieved certain things in life, the biggest thing that you can have is santosha. Being satisfied in what you have. No one is stopping you from having aspirations in life. Have aspirations in life is absolutely okay. That's why the Artha Purushar comes into the picture. But this Ashtanga Yoga is for you to unify with the source. Yujyate iti yogaha. The one that helps you unite. And what are the major benefits? First thing, reduction of stress. I was reading about an influencer on Instagram. She started doing yoga because she wanted a body like Kareena Kapoor. Her intent was that to start with, and then she understood that she's in a much better spiritual space just because she was practicing yoga. I happened to interact with a girl near in her 20s during a lockdown. Prior to a lockdown, she went to Thailand and she studied yoga over there, and she came back and I asked her, how much did you pay? I'm like, you could have studied the same thing at 1/10 cost over here. Now let me portray this entire thought to you. You want the next generation to be taken care of. Please tell me one thing, how many families are like you to actually take care of these generations and to take care of people like us who will take care of these generations? Help me count the number of families in the society. Who's worried about the education from an Eastern point of view? I'm blessed for having such a mother who ensured I had Western education in the morning and ensured that I had Eastern education in the afternoon and the evening. There's never an evening where I haven't gone to a temple. And my university was the temple. We want Brahmins to be educated enough to host your events in English. Brahmins will be more than happy to learn English. Is the society ready to take care of their expenses? Irony of life, no offense to anyone's profession, we pay a photographer more than a Brahmin. My best friend is a photographer. I used to taunt him, tu mere se zyada kamata hai. And you want a Brahmin to do a marriage for you in 45 minutes. What mantras he'll recite and what kind of marriage will it turn out to be? Please tell me. And then you are telling me, oh, but the relationship has a problem, it's leading to a divorce. Who asked you to dance for 3 hours in front of a barat? And marry in a Rahu Kal? Did I ask you to do that? Did the Brahmin ask you to do that? No. He understands time. He respects time. That's the reason he's behind you continuously. Please, Muratma Parani lo. नहीं तो जीवन भर मुरतिया बनવું પડશે. These are all interconnected topics. So please don't feel otherwise. Eventually your goal needs to be Sanchintayet Bhagavata Shtaranarvindam. 3 Skand, 28 Adhyay, Pello Shlok. What are you supposed to meditate upon? You are supposed to meditate upon the lotus feet of the Lord. Why? Because the lotus feet of Lord has something called as Vajra in it. That Vajra can ensure that your sorrows can go away. And mind you one thing, as much as good things you are expecting in life, remember this one statement. Every sunrise and the sunset is always of a red color. Intellectual people don't fear dukh or sukh. happiness and sadness are equivalent for them, just like the sunrise and the sunset. They both are red for them. In no matter space and scenario, at the end of the day, your Ashtanga Yoga will always land in one thing, focusing on the lotus feet of the Lord. As simple as that. Now we talk about negative segment of bhakti. Yeah, bhakti can be negative. You want something so that someone is harmed. You're performing a certain segment of bhakti. A lot of black magic based bhakti is done, tantra based bhakti is done. It's all negative in nature. Someone needs to be harmed because of that bhakti. The other segment of bhakti is rajas in nature. You do the bhakti in order to get something in return for your own self. Similarly, there's sattvic bhakti as well, which is more positive, which wants an outcome of higher purpose in life. And then comes the nirguna bhakti, wherein you don't want anything. All you want is to give love. It's called ahaituki bhakti. You are not expecting any form of muktis over there. You neither want to be in the Lord's loka, you don't want a body like Him, you don't want to be near Him. Nothing. There's no salokya, samipya, sarupya, nothing. It's pure devotional love. That's it, nothing. And if you feel certain people like these don't exist, please come out of your comfort zone of looking at the world the way you want to. There are people in the world who don't want anything. They're very much satisfied with what they have, and all they want is to express their unconditional love for the Lord. That's it. They've understood कि आना थी वजह मैंने पैसा नहीं जरूरत नहीं. They've come to a conclusion. I don't need more money than this. And it also happens that people who are attached to their own body eventually land up only taking care of that body. And they are not doing anything else in the world. This is also very well explained in the Bhagwatam. Apart from that, the entire process of how a child is being nurtured in the mother's womb. And there have been so many scenarios wherein the child has been in the mother of the womb. UNICEF also has claimed something, that music is something can impact the mother even before the child is born. It can impact the child even before the child is born. See, it's as simple as that. You have a barren land and you're supposed to add nutrition to that land even before you start sowing seeds. And the minute the seed is inside, your responsibility is to continuously nourish that land. The same thing goes over here as well in context with a baby. It doesn't matter if it's a girl or it's a boy. Chaitanya Bhai, ask my mom in private later on what did she used to do when I was in her womb at that given point of time. She'll give you an answer for it. When I heard it for the first time, I had tears in my eyes. That I had a mother who took such efforts for me. Doctor's PhD, a PhD doctor, someone who has done PhD in human psychology and on the grounds of gynecology, is saying that mother's diet during pregnancy can affect the children. Yeah, I know there are some rushes that come into the picture. Sometimes you want to have sugar, sometimes you want to have something spicy, sometimes you feel like having sour because your taste buds are changing. But the amount of sattvic food that goes inside eventually becomes a nourishment for the child as well. Now you take laws of proposition that every action has an equal and opposite reaction. You want to take it that way, you want to take it the scientific way, you want to take it the Bhagavad way. Even the Swedish scientists were claiming something on the similar lines. Till that extent that your exposure towards mobile phone can affect you. Not just the radiation part of it, but the content consumption pattern can affect you. See, I also come from the generation wherein when we used to sit for lectures, we are a text-based generation. We had BBMs when we were in colleges. BBMs then got substituted with WhatsApp. We are the generation of emojis and smileys. Our 5 to 7 years of life have gone in networking just to converse with people with mobile phones. We've become so habituated in it that we might become awkward when we're talking in person. Now imagine the same reaction happening from a mother when the child is in the womb. Mudit, for example, pretty young chap, knows how to handle mobile phone. Maybe when I was at his age, I couldn't do it as much. He's way smarter than me. So you're talking tech, they know it all. You might not know certain things and they know it more than you. Did they learn from the mother's womb? Please answer my question. મારે જ્યાં જવો હોય જાઓ, જેટલી મોડર્નિટી લાવી હોય લાવો. My Shastra has it and has it. My Shastra might not have an elaborative format of it, but definitely has some concepts of the modern age. What happens when you take the bright path and dark path of bhakti? Eventually, all you have to do is bhajasva parameshtinam. You're supposed to serve. And one more perspective that the Shastra gives is, once you have enough now, you're supposed to live by yourself. Let me tell you one thing. The topmost affluent, richest people in the world, you take Bezos, you take Gates, you take Zuckerberg, you take Buffett, you take Musk. What the research says that maximum of these people spend a certain segment of time alone, just in reflection of thoughts. જેટલું ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ સાથે રહેવું છે, એટલું જ ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ થોડીવાર એકલા રહેવું પણ છે. Extreme exposure towards social life is also harmful for your own energy. You need some time to replenish, to rejuvenate, to re-synergize your own segment of energy. It might include ranting of your emotions, writing certain things down, journaling, yoga, eating the best kind of food that you want to, reading certain segment of scriptures, going to a guru and submitting yourself, being with Thakurji and expressing your thoughts, learning a new format of musical instrument, learning how to do malajis. It could be anything. Something which is not tech driven though, which helps you disconnect from the world and allows you to be with yourself. And Kapil Muni's avatar is majorly for this. To give the light of wisdom to the mother. And the mother's receptive of what the child is saying. She's not just merely listening and ignoring it. You start something with a selfish intention, let me tell you one thing, it won't last for a longer period of time. It will have stress and it will give you limited gains. You want to do something, you do it from an unselfish perspective. You do it from a selfless point of view. Yeah, the world talks about a power of manifestation. Yeah, you release a thought from your mind and eventually the world will start revolving and ensuring that the thought becomes into reality. And that's why some of the top leaders in the business world, they say to have affirmations in the language, I am sufficient, I am rich, I am open-minded. They make you say affirmations in that zone. And with this, we conclude the chapter 3 and we enter into chapter 4. Chapter 4 is primarily divided into Dharma, Artha, Kam and Moksha. The Skanda 4, which is also known as Visarga Leela, Vishishta format of creation, which happens to be Srinathji's left bahu, happens to have 31 adhyayas in it and is divided into Dharma, Artha, Kam and Moksha. the 4 Purusharths in life. There are 4 stories that we'll talk about. Primarily, we'll talk about Daksha and Dhruva. Pruthu we'll talk in a very short format, and Pracheta, which is a very complicated segment and scenario. Since we've already studied Sankhya, for now we cannot touch more upon it. But I'll definitely tell you a little bit about what these each charitra really stand for. So if you remember, Swayambhu had 3 daughters. We already spoke about Devhuti. Now we are talking about Akuti and Prasuti. It happened so that the Trideva, that's Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, in Bhagwatam, if you want to talk about the 3 gods, the Trideva, they are known by Hara, Hari, Virinchi. Virinchi is the one who creates. Hari is someone who sustains. And Hara takes it away, destroys it. Hari Hara Virinchi iti Sangnyaha. This is what is being said in the Canto 1 of Bhagwatam. And the same thought process has been repeated over here as well. What are the duties of the 3 gods? Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh. Now comes the major process of the sentiments and the feelings that you have for others. Daksha has a daughter called Sati. Daksha himself is a Prajapati. Daksha was unhappy that his son-in-law, Mahadevji, was being prayed and worshipped by people. 2 major learnings that we can get from this charitra. Number 1, never make fun of someone's appearances. See, that's my affirmation. That's my assurance. Never makes fun of someone's appearances. The kind of words that are being used for Mahadevji, that on one side, look at my daughter, she's so beautiful. And on the other side, look at Shri Mahadevji, who looks like a monkey. Or whose eyes are in a different format. He doesn't even sense of what to dress. He behaves as if he doesn't care. And when you start terming such things for people, that's when your downfall starts. Because your mind is only focused on the flaws. Kya natu chhe, a motu chhe, a jadu chhe, a patlu chhe. ક્યારે એ વિચાર કર્યું છે કે એ શા માટે છે? On one side, we talk about adorning the beauty, appreciating the beauty of who people are. And on the other side, we only start terming things. This is one of the major lessons that we learn from Daksha Prajapati. That is something that you're not supposed to do. And the second concept that we understand why Daksha was involved in saying bad things about Mahadevji, because he was jealous. Jealousy. Either you look down upon someone, that's why you will say bad things, or you are jealous. And jealousy comes from a lot of places. A, you have lack of self-confidence. You're not confident, that's why you're feeling jealous. Oh, that guy, no. You know that person is better than you, but you'll still negate them. Or you don't have a self-image. Your self-image is very poor. You have either fear or insecurity. Now, just imagine this, if Adani and Ambani don't have a healthy relationship in terms of competition, they'll end up being jealous of each other. But they're industrialists, they have to be beyond the point of jealousy. And if you observe the conversation that both of these businessmen have had in the last 1 year, when they were describing Mr. Modi, they only said one thing: he's the man of national interest. You want personal favors, he won't give it to you. You talk about national schemes, he'll entertain your phone call. Both the humans, both the business stalwarts in the industry are talking the same thing. These guys are beyond jealousy. At least in context with business. I'm not sure about how they are in person. And the last one is inferiority complexion. That is something that also makes you jealous. મારા પાસે GLA તો આના પાસે C class કેવી રીતે હોઈ શકે? How can he have a Maybach? Every time and now you are trying to prove that you are better than them. What is this sense of provingness that you have to do it continuously? Why? Why do you need to prove that you're better than someone? What is the urge behind it? And this happens a lot when children are growing up between the age of 5 and 18 till 21. Oh, મારો છોકરો NM માં તો મારો મિઠીભાઈમાં તો શું કરું? They divided by one canteen, that's it. Yeah, fine, okay, I understand you're in different colleges, different cultures are there, I get it. Oh, why to be jealous? I've seen dumb people coming out of NM earning lesser money in life, and people in Ritarambara being, owners of businesses and they're making crores of rupees. People going to JBIMS being corporate slaves. People going to some stupid B school becoming entrepreneurs and appointing such people at the same time. Who are we to become jealous at a given standpoint? Just because we don't have something in life? So we'll start becoming jealous of God as well, huh? 16,008 રાણીઓ, મથુરાનો નાથ અને દ્વારકાનો નાથ, ગોલોકનો માલિક, વ્રજનો માલિક, 72 કરોડ ગાયોનો માલિક. તો ભગવાનથી તો સૌથી મોટી જેલસી થવી જોઈએ આપણને. ભગવાન પાસે રાધાજી, આપણા પાસે કોણ ભગવાન જાણે. So jealousy hoy, ત્યાં insult થવાનું start થાય. Wherever there's jealousy, you'll start insulting other people. And that's exactly what Daksha Prajapati did. For this time, Mahadevji let it go. And since Mahadevji let it go, Brahmaji was like, let me play a game. Let me upgrade Daksha Prajapati. Let me give him a title because of which his ego will be boosted even further. And that's exactly what happened. This time Daksha Prajapati had organized a sacrifice in his house, yagna in his house, and he never invited his daughter. નહીં ફોન કરીને કીધું બેટા તારે આવવાનું છે. A phone call was not made to the daughter, and the daughter was adamant on going to this yagna because it's my father's yagna. But that's not how she's communicating to the husband. You know the words that Sati is utilizing to convince Mahadevji that you're supposed to go for this yagna? Your sasra has organized it. Not my father. Your sasra has organized this. Your sasurji has organized this. Your father-in-law has organized this yagna. And I wish to meet my family over there. I wish to meet my sisters. I wish to meet my mother over there. Can we please go? It's like the boy wants to watch a football match and the girl wants to go for a flea market. The boy is not going for the boy is not coming along with the girl for a flea market. It's as simple as that. The only difference is here the yagna is organized by Sati's father. Sometimes I wonder how opposites people live in a relationship together, but that's the beauty about relationship. That opposites attract. And love is blind. प्रजापतेस्ते श्वसुरस्य सांप्रतम. श्वसुरस्य. તમારા સસરા. What is the yagna? The yagna is a mahotsav. So Sati decides, Sati goes there and she doesn't find Mahadevji's sthapan in the yagna. She feels insulted. Daksha Prajapati had no right to do this. She feels insulted. Why? Because she was the one insisting on her husband to go for the yagna. The husband was not ready to come. And she disobeyed her husband. And somewhere Mahadevji knew that this is going to happen. If I'll restrict her from going, she'll die over here. Rather, let her die at Daksha's place. And why Sati had to die? Please remember this. Sati is actually representing ahankar, ego. And where does the ego come from? Does the ego come from your feet or the ego comes from your head? Dakshna matha mathi ahankar utpanna thayeli Sati. महादेव जी ने त्या मरे तो महादेव जी ने खराब लागे. Hence she is passed away at Daksha's place. And what happens when your wife passes away? She sacrificed herself, and see what is happening next. Rudra. Here comes the negative part of Rudra. The extreme amount of anger. How has it come out? Shiva ensures that his jata, that his hair, is actually touching the feet. He hits the ground like this. And from there, Veerbhadra is out. Daksha's head, Sati. Mahadevji's head, Veerbhadra. And what is this Veerbhadra being said? Bhavo Bhavanya Nidhanam Prajapate. Go to Daksha's place, annihilate the entire yagna. Annihilate the entire Vajpayee yagna. And it happens so. The entire yagna is destroyed. Mahadevji's format of anger, a lot of people don't even know how to calm him down. And that's why Veerbhadra format is being sent to the yagna. Now eventually everyone realizes that we need to ask for forgiveness from Mahadevji. Let's go to Kailas. People feel Kailas is a very random place, it's chilled and there's nothing. Well, let me tell you one thing, Kailas has everything in it. The maximum form of luxury that you say in the Palm Beach or the Palm Jumeirah in Dubai, which has anything and everything in it by itself. The same thing is there for Kailas itself. Kailas has enough trees, Kailas has enough wealth, Kailas has good weather, Kailas has everything. Mahadevji has never been bothered about going anywhere else apart from Kailas. And Brahmaji and all these gods go to Kailash, appear in front of Shiva and ask for forgiveness. And Shivji is like, I forgive him. Big deal. Children make mistakes. नादान लोगों भूल करे. As much as easily Shivji can be angry, he can also be gracious enough. Eventually all of them go to Hari. Hari announces that you all can complete the sacrifice. The only difference is this time initiate it in the right way. See, jealousy can take you places, ego can take you places. And then comes doing the wrong things at the wrong places. The yagna performed by Daksha Prajapati was not at the right place. There are certain set of activities that you can do in a certain place only. For example, having your lunch or dinner on the bed is prohibited. It's supposed to be eaten in the place, either in the kitchen or nearby the kitchen where the food can be served to you. Back in the days, the kitchen itself used to be huge so that enough people could sit down and eat over there. And every kitchen had a curtain so that random people didn't enter the curtain. And didn't enter the kitchen. Now we have doors, but prior to that there were curtains. કોઈની દ્રષ્ટિ ન પડે એટલે. Because dinner and lunch is a very private and an intimate thing. You don't do it with random people. Food is the form of an energy that you're consuming for your own nourishment. It's not just for your enjoyment. And the nourishment requires the right people to see at the food and be unaffected. Moral of the story for this thing is don't be jealous, don't be egoistic, and do the things in the right format. Now comes a very sweet, simple story of Dhruva. Has two mothers. What are the names of the mothers? Suniti and Suruchi. Who should be your mother, Suniti or Suruchi? What is the difference between Suniti and Suruchi? Morals, ethics, righteousness. Let me tell you one thing. Your entire life is struggling between the words of desire and what needs to be done. Something that you want to do versus something that Dharma is asking you to do. When Brahmins study Sanskrit, they study this one shlok, Punyasya phalam icchanti, punyam na karoti manavaha. પુણ્યનું ફળ બધાને જોઈએ છે, પુણ્ય કોઈને કરવા નથી. પાપ કોઈ નથી ઈચ્છતું, પણ પાપ બધા કરતા રહે છે. You want punya, but you don't want to do punya. You don't want pap, but you continuously engage your activities in pap. And this is where your brain and your heart will always be in a war with each other, engaged in a war as to what needs to be done versus what should be done, or what you want to do or what needs to be done. Never hurt a child's sentiment. This is the biggest message that we can learn from Dhruva's charitra. A mother obstructs love of father. Father's love is being obstructed by the mother by saying, you don't deserve to be there. And Dhruva is someone who's not going to take such statements lightly. He's a challenging boy. At a mere early age, he sets out of his house. He wants to achieve the Lord. He wants to achieve that Lord. And in order to achieve that Lord, you need some guidance. And that's where Naradji comes into the picture. And gives him the Dwadashakshar mantra. Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. And remember one thing. Anything that you desire will require efforts. Along with efforts, it will require commitment. And that's why in Kathopanishad it has been said, Uttishtha, Jagrata, Varan Prapya Nibodhata. Arise, awake and stop not until your goal is achieved. The same philosophy which has been propounded by Swami Vivekananda. Elderly people will test you by asking you questions. You need not feel demoralized. They are just trying to understand your intent and your urge to achieve that thing. Most of the times, until certain years ago, even me, when I was in my early 20s, I was like, why is my dad so concerned about everything that I do? But then I developed this thought process when Naradji is trying to have a conversation with Dhruva. He's trying to understand how much ready he is to face these challenges. And yeah, Naradji felt he is ready. That's why he got the mantra. So he does good amount of penance. You guys recite na Yamnashtakam, Dhruva Parasharadi Vishtade Vishuddha Mathuratate Sakala Gopa Gopi Vrute Krupa Jaldi Sanshrite Mama Manasukham Bhavaya. Dhruva Parasharadi Vishtade. Dhruva is the same Dhruva who is there near the Yamnaji and is doing penance. Initially he was having fruits, then he was having leaves, then he was having only hair. And after a point of time, he controlled his breath, and everyone was like, oh God, please come down. Save him. Save this kid. You can use either one of them. It's fine. If you're a Pushti Mariya Jeev, you will always prefer Ashtakshar mantra. But in case if someone is not that Pushti inclined, you can use this mantra. Yeah, the Maryada Pushti Kram will always stay. But let me be very honest. Since it's a mantra from Bhagwat itself is Pushti, shouldn't be an issue as such. But some people are still not aligned with Krishna as much as they are with Vasudev. So if their adhikar is that, then that. If their adhikar is Krishna, then Krishna.
So how do they see the difference between Krishna?
As simple as that, are they inclined towards Srinathji as such or not? If they are inclined towards Lalan or Srinathji, they can be blessed with the Ashtakshar mantra, which they might have already got because of the Brahmasamman Diksha. But let's just say if they're still not in the synchronization with Thakurji yet. See, let me tell you one thing. Not every bhakti soul is a Pushti Margiya Jeev. And that has been propounded by Shri Mahaprabhuji and Shri Gosai Ji in Pushti Pravaha Maryada Grantha.
Even though the character is same?
Even if the character is same. There are certain traits of a Pushti Jeev, there are certain traits of a Maryada Jeev, there are certain traits of a Pravahi Jeev. My job and the Pravahi Jeev's job is to learn these things and try to decide whether they want to be in Maryada or whether they want to be in Pushti. It's not one man's job. And still, that's why one of the biggest challenges for a Vaishnav is to sacho Vaishnav jare thai, jare bijo koi Vaishnav thai. If I can be such a Vaishnav that others can also start implementing the similar Vaishnavism, that's when you become a Vaishnav. Not just when you're following Vishnu. A Pushti Pravaha Maryada is very essential for even them to understand what are various stages in bhakti. We are expecting them to be selfless when they are not even conditional yet. At least let them have the conditional format of love for God. Let them come to the step of unconditional. And what happens when the Lord comes down? Dhruva was touched by Lord with his conch. And this is one of our favorites. Any Brahmin who might have studied in a Vidyapit would love this verse. Yonta pravishya mama vacha mimam prasuptam. Vacha. My speech. All my senses, even they are sleeping, active, hands, legs, ear, touch, sensation, anything and everything is only for you. Prana namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam. Purusha. The same Purusha was being extolled in Vedas as Purusha again. But one mistake that Dhruva made, when he was supposed to art for Bhagwan's bhakti, he landed up getting a blessing because of which he had to stay on the planet Earth for the longer duration of time. And only after the Lord disappeared, he realized, oh, I wasn't supposed to ask for this. Ladies and gentlemen, please know this. You need to learn what to ask from the universe. Remember one thing, everyone wants wealth, everyone wants happiness. That's the most common denominator that anyone can have in life. Ask for something unusual. Let me tell you one thing, your life is going to be amazing. I'll tell you a story. My grandfather, he was nearing 75. He had a 90-year-old teacher to come down and teach him. "75. Is there a need to study?" And that teacher used to come from Virar to Bolivali just to teach my father for 1.5 hours. If your grandfather is such, how can the child not learn such qualities? So when I claim to be a student for life, because I have such an idol in life. Uttan was dead, and Dhruva eventually becomes the king. And Dhruv starts killing everyone. And this is for all those people who have anger issues in life. According to Shri Gosai if you are angry, that's reducing your wisdom. Krodhena jnanana shosti. I'll tell you my personal experience. I've seen a lot of WWE when I was a child, which made me short-tempered. So my initial days of teenage were very short-tempered. It's after multiple thokar in life you realize that, you know what, this anger is not leading you anywhere, it's only harming you. So yes, that initial 30 seconds of withholding yourself is the biggest challenge, the biggest pain, and the biggest peaceful segment of time that you need to pass through. Post which that eruption can be taken care of. And if you hear from a Pushti mark standpoint, they give you a typical tone in Vraj Bhasha. Toku Chandal ko swarup bhayo hai, jaake snan kari ke wapas aaye. Sounds very, what do we say, Bhojpuri, but it's not Bhojpuri, it's actually Vraj Bhasha. What does it translate to? You've become a Chandal, why don't you take a bath and come back? Because you need to calm yourself down. That's what these guys say in typical Vraj Bhasha style. Any Vallabh Kulacharya who finds any of the sevaks very angry, go take a bath and come back. At the end of the day, whatever you do, you are supposed to make your God happy, your Lord happy. And how do you make him happy? A very simple methodology of communication that when a devotee is meeting others, he needs to greet them with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. Greeting. कोई ने ग्रीट करवाती भगवान खुश था इधर. Generally, when two Vaishnavas meet each other, they land up saying Jai Shri Krishna. When two Brahmins meet each other, we say Namaskar to each other. When a youngster is meeting an elder, they'll end up saying Pranam to each other. Or when someone is meeting a learned as well, they start saying to Pranam to them. See, even if I have my teacher, even if he's my age, I have to say Pranam to that person. Or even if he's younger to me because he's giving me knowledge, I'm supposed to say Pranam. Because he's my preceptor at that given point of time. He's my teacher, he's my guru, he's my mentor, he's my guide. And when it comes to Thakurji or any form of Acharya, like a Vallabh Kula Acharya, that's when you do Dandavat Pranam to them. You raise your benchmark in greeting people as well. How you have certain societal norms of side hugging someone and openly hugging someone, and warmly hugging someone and softly hugging someone, or firmly handshaking someone, and some people you can even hold both their hands as a moment of love. They won't mind it. Because there's synergy, there's understanding, you understand each other's body language, and you're comfortable in that zone. The same thing is there over here as well. And mind you, the greeting part of it is so evident in the Sanatana Dharma culture, in the Vedic culture, that you'll never see these guys doing handshakes, they'll always do namaskar. Because touch has energy. You don't transfer that energy so easily. It's my periphery and my aura. I don't want to let you in directly without knowing you, understanding you. The Westerners make you shake hands and then the formal segment of communication starts in. The other does nothing. Namaskaram. If you're feeling bad, I'm sorry. But that's the way we greet here. Kuber eventually gives some blessings to Kuber, whom we have mentioned earlier as well, gives blessings to Dhruva. Now Dhruv's children have been mentioned over here, and in the process of his generation comes a king called as Vena. Now Vena is someone who is not a good king. Vena left his own kingdom. He ensured that all the religious activities have been stopped, and he goes to the forest in order to live with someone. Eventually what happens is the Brahmins decide that this needs to change because Vena is not the right kind of king. Vena is killed, and Vena's body is being utilized to create a new king out of him who is known as Pruthu. Venna sharirnu manthan karvama avelu. Now what's a manthan? There's a process called Arni manthan. In order to ignite fire, two logs of woods are continuously mashed against each other, and then that's when the smoke is created. Why? Because the log of wood has a tattva called Agni in it. And guess who does this process? The female of the house. The yagna ki ahuti, yagna ki agni, which is being made, is actually done by the female, and she brings it to the male, saying that this is something that you need to offer to the yagna. And now to answer the question, or to answer the statement of what it happened, so that King Pruthu becomes the king, and everyone starts glorifying Pruthu. Everyone starts glorifying Pruthu. They are singing good things about him, they are reciting good things about him, and you know what is happening to Pruthu? Pruthu is feeling ashamed. Noble people don't like when they are appreciated in public for the things that they have done. And Pruthu is like, stop appreciating me. गुजराती में कहिए तो महापुरुषों ने लज्जा आवे. There are some people with humongous amount of ego. They feel appreciated when they're announced. Yeah, they have a protocol that I want to be treated like this. But people who are actually reached a certain level, they'll feel a little bad that good things about them are being spoken out loudly, because they try to do things silently. And this is one of the biggest things that I've learned from Pruthu Maharaj's Charitra. And Pruthu is also someone who goes behind earth and ensures that all the elements that are there in the body of the cow are being taken out. One of them was dhanya, grains. My friends and family over here, here's a small fact that you need to know. About 815 million people are going hungry on a daily basis. They don't have food to eat every day. We need to have a little mercy towards the food that we are eating. We are wasting food left, right, and center. And to combat this issue, there have been initiatives like the Robin Hood Army in India. Wherever there are large functions happening, these guys are collecting food and ensuring that it goes to the people in need before 11:30 or 12 at night. In case if you plan to have humongous functions where thousands or hundreds of people are going to come, please identify NGOs and scenarios, because you are paying for the money which is just going in the trash. Rather, if it goes in someone's mouth, at least you will get some blessings. And you are a family of business. What I've learned, one thing, while Ratan Tata was having a conversation with one of his relatives, was the relative once happened so to feed certain segment of people, and Ratan Tata questioned him, until when are you going to do this? until when you're going to donate food to them. Rather do something which can make them self-sufficient, which can create jobs, which embarks that they can start feeding themselves. We understand one thing, that any form of free food is just like a charity or donation which is going to take care of things once. But it's like family like yours, family like Saraf's, family like Ambani's, family like any affluent family in the world which is doing something good for the community. That's why foundations are made, trusts are made, so that the wealth earned by these families are doing justice to problems like these. Pruthu is also known for his town planning. Pruthu is very well known for his town planning. We feel at back given point of time, would they need anything? Would they need infrastructure? Yeah, they needed infrastructure. They needed constitution. People used to obey central and state laws. Imagine the amount of backlog this government had when they came into the picture. They had more than 700 acts or laws in place which were from the pre-British era, which was still being utilized till this given point in day. They had to clean them up. And look at the amount of talent drain that is happening in this country. Everyone is aspiring enough just to go to a foreign country and settle over there. Why? Because of the better lifestyle. But I am seeing people coming down from there. I'll tell you a simple example of a lady from Germany who quit her job. Since last 25 years in staying in Vrach, taking care of more than 700 cows. 700 cows. Out of which, you know what? 500 are not even giving milk. When the Prime Minister says the idea of India, Janani Janma Bhumishya Swargadapi Gariyasi, that comes from Ramayana. And it says the mother and the motherland are something which is beyond the heaven. I'm happy how in the last 10 years, or last 10 years to be precise, how India has been perceived as a power altogether. Until now, we were considered to be a third world country. So when a minister like Jai Shankar is going in the public and saying that, you know what, I was having a dinner with my child in United States of America and he removed a piece of paper to show his COVID certificate and I was removing an app. That's the time when I feel like saying, you know what, I'm an Indian. Just because certain part of the land is such doesn't mean the entire country is such. Pruthu performs a sacrifice called Ashwamedh Yagna. He does it for 100 times. Indra is trying to come over there, trying to trouble. Yagna is a format of Vishnu. Pruthu gives his teachings. Pruthu is eventually approached by Sanat Kumars. And Pruthu Maharaj eventually submits himself and says, dear Brahmins, my life, my wife, my children, my home, my belongings, my household, my paraphernalia, my kingdom, my strength, my land and my treasury, everything is yours. Everything is yours. This is the beauty about Pruthu Maharaj. A king who knows how to rule, a king who knows how to govern his kingdom, a king who thinks about others. You might have read history. Harshvardhan was someone who would empty his treasury. He would give away all the money that was received. But see, we're talking about nation and economics, right? Look at the number of taxpayers we have in the world, in the country, and look at the amount of people are supposed to be benefited because of the schemes of the government. Some 6 crore taxpayers versus 140 crores to feed. What's the ratio? And the businessman community of this country is so nice that an additional 1% tax is levied on their personal income and they're happily paying it. And some dumb states want everything for free, right from electricity to grains. They're not understanding just because you're not going to invest in that way, somehow the indirect tax is going to affect them anyway. This is the difference between having literacy in a state and education in a state. You know why am I applauding this government so much? Not that I was not happy with the previous government. They were okay, I'm not saying no. But stupid Mumbai Ghatkopar, Andheri Ghatkopar project took them 7 years to be made. And this project which started in 2015, 7 years the project is done. And the length of that project double the size. The same Prime Minister opens the project, same Prime Minister shutting that project. And this very same government, let me tell you something. The NDA has a PDF file of Vidur Niti on their website. They won me there. Why Vidur Niti? If you want to be a statesman, you need to know Vidur Niti. You need to know how to deal with other people in different scenarios. This is what you can learn from Prithu. Statesmanship. How do you take care of your kingdom when they are in crisis? That's why he captivated on earth and got all the elements. Because earth was like, I was safeguarding all the elements in me until I found the right person. And you are the right person, Prithu. That's the reason I'm giving all the elements to you. Taking care of your citizens is your responsibility, and that is something that you can learn from Prithu's Charitra. The next one is Prachetas. Prachetas, it happens so that they are extolling Rudra, and Rudra starts it starts with Rudra being extolled and Rudra eventually giving blessings. Over here, Shiva is singing about the Lord. The same words, Namah Pankaj Nabhaya, were also being utilized by Kunti ji in her stuti. How is Vasudeva? Vasudevaya Shantaya. Someone who gives you peace. You want to learn how to do tapa, you need to study this charitra called as Puranjan. Right from Adhyay number 24 till 31. 7 chapters has something called as Puranjan Upakhyan, which talks about Jiva, Sansar, Indriya, the day, the night, the roles and responsibilities, what happens when you have desires. It also talks about a conversation between a husband and a wife. It also talks about how this husband eventually turns out to be a woman in the next birth. A lot of things. It's so deep dived in philosophy that if I start saying, you'll start yawning right now. And I was told that I was asking too many questions, so you might have seen I have not asked so many questions today to you. I've been a very nice human being today. Feedback was duly noted, criticism was duly accepted, and it was amended on the very next day. Narad ji gives some explanation to Prachetas. Vishnu also confers certain lessons. That's how the 4th canto comes to an end, and we enter into Skanda 5, which has a lot of geographical thought processes in and around There's a king called Priyavrat. In Sanskrit, there are certain verses that can be sung. But then comes a certain segment of verse that cannot be sung. But they are not sung as in a musical format. Like if you see over here, the shloka, the verse, it's there. It might be in small fonts, but it's humongous in size. So the entire fifth canto is full with such verses. Do we all know that there was only one continent back in the days? Then we know that it got divided further, then 2 and then 7 happened. That's for you. Doesn't have the translation of it, but the 7 seas and 7 continents, but done by Priyavrat as a king. He created a rath, a chariot, which was as equivalent as a sun. Now see the madness. Sorry to use this word madness, but here the madness is in context with what he wants to achieve. Priyavrat wanted to achieve that, there's 7 days and 7 nights now. I want to ensure that the earth doesn't have a night only. Now, geographically, if you think it's impossible. But he creates a rath, a chariot, which is as strong and powerful as a sun. And because he moves his chariot on the earth, the continents are formed. And if you read the first letter called Jambu, that's where we are. Jambu Dvipa, Jambu Khanda, Jambu Dvip, that's where we are. Yeah. Eventually, there's a king called as Annigdra. There's also a story of King Nabhi. Now let's talk about a religion which is called Jainism. Jainism's Pratham Tirthankar goes by the name of Rishabdev. It happens so that the 24 avatars of Vishnu also includes Rishabdev in it. Rishabdev had sons, 100 sons, and he wanted to propagate some kind of knowledge to them. He wanted to surpass some wisdom to them. It happened so that while his children were listening to this wisdom, there was a king called as Arihanta who took his message in a different format, and that's how Jainism actually got started and initiated. So we are not saying that they're wrongly interpreted, they differently interpreted it. And that's how Jainism came into the picture. So Jainism is a religion that doesn't believe in Vedas, but still gets married with the Vedic formats only. So Rishabdev is their first Tirthankar. While Rishabdev is one of the avatars of Vishnu, and such an avatar of Vishnu that Rishabdev has propounded great amount of wisdom, till that extent that Shukdev ji eventually praise him. See, there are very rare scenarios where Shukdev ji will get involved and Shukdev ji will actually do pranam to an avatar. But Rishabdev is one such avatar where Rishabdev is trying to instruct his son about himself. He is himself an aesthetic in life. He has no worldly obligation to be taken care of. While he's communicating, he's conveying his thoughts to his son. Shukdev Ji Maharaj eventually remembers him and says, Rushabhaya Tasmai. Akhyan Namo Bhagavate Rushabhaya Tasmai. Jainism people have something called as Akhyan. That same Akhyan as a concept has actually come from Rishadev's preachings only. See, there are 4 religions that originated in the Bharatvarsh. The Sanatan Dharma itself, which is now known as Hinduism to people. There's Jainism, there's Buddhism. Buddha is also an avatar of Vishnu at the end of the day. The purpose of Buddha avatar was to interpret Vedas in a different format and to go against Vedas. And the third one is Sikhism. Jainism, Buddhism, Sikhism, Hinduism. These are the 4th. Sikhism, if you see and realize, if you read some inner depth of Sikhism as well, a lot of their concepts come from Ramchandra's Charitra. The truest forms of Sikhs who believe in Guru Granth Sahib don't even eat onion and garlic. Non-veg to bahut dur ni baat hai. You go to Amritsar and you ask for a Vaishnav paratha, they'll give it to you. They won't include onion and garlic in it. And the pillars of Jainism, which are, Asteya, Ahimsa, they eventually come from Hinduism itself. Because the 10 commandments of Hinduism that are there, which is the Samanya Dharma, Dhrutikshama, Dhamma, Steyam, they're the same in Jainism as well. So if you want to learn how to live life of an aesthetic, Rishabdev is where you need to learn it from. Next comes the story of Bharat. This is the same Bharat who happens to be the king of Bharat. Now Bharat eventually is so learned, still during his last days of life becomes infatuated for a fawn and eventually becomes a deer in the next birth. I'll tell you a small story which will help you understand the context of this. There was a ba. The dadi never took Bhagwan's name ever in her life. And she had a daughter called Parvati. And Parvati's husband was Govind. Now this ba is on her deathbed and everyone is trying to ensure that she says Lord's name at the last stage of her life. All methods were tried, nothing worked out. Finally, one intellectual human being decided, let me get Parvati's husband here, Govind. Maybe after looking at Govind, she might say Govind. Now, Gujarati mother, when she saw Govind, she said Paron over. She never said Govind. She passed away. You try as much as you want to, but if you can't recite Lord's name, you can't recite Lord's name. And after a point of time, we'll get into Ajamil Charitra. That's when we'll realize that the last name of God could also make the difference over here. Now, Bharat has an infatuation in a deer at the end of his life. He had renunciated everything, but this one deer was pretty much there in the memory. And that's how he became deer in the next birth. Let me tell you one thing. Life will hit you hard when it's supposed to hit you hard, but if you can accept it earlier, the hitting will be actually less painful. For people who have energy, money, wealth, power, enough people to support them, they might not realize what it's actually to be like alone and to actually face life problems which are beyond our capacity and imagination. It's only when you lose some of these things you realize that you actually valued them. Now that might be people, relation, bond, feeling, sentiments, anything. Even for a matter of fact, respect. It's only after it's gone we understand the value of it. So for all those people who take it very casually right now, especially to my generation who is listening to me on YouTube right now, your family, your elders are not old because of choice. It's because of the nature's cycle. Just because you feel right now you are smart and active enough, let me tell you one thing, your time will also come when you will be in their spot. The way you're treating them right now, just imagine how will your generation treat you. And second thing, karma is a cycle. You be a smart one right now, karma will answer you later on. The more cool you are trying to be in front of your family right now, let me tell you one thing, your children are observing you. And that's why Mata and Pita, Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava comes even before an Acharya Devo Bhava. Your mother and a father are the biggest teachers even before a teacher comes into the picture. So my friends and family, all the youngsters who are listening to me on YouTube, please beware. You might be casual right now, you might have aspirations in life right now, you might be taking things lightly right now. One day something will happen, it will knock your door and you won't have an idea how to face that. Beware. But Bharat ji was fortunate enough because his knowledge got transformed in the second birth as well. So after the deer, now he is born in a Brahmin family. And he has all the knowledge from his past, which is lucky, which is very lucky. We all might not even remember a lot of things from our previous births. We might have hallucinations, but we really don't know whether they are concerned with us or not. But Bharatji was blessed and that he was born in a Brahmin family. And this time, he's not a socially amiable human being. He doesn't talk much. He doesn't speak much. He's generally alone by himself, doesn't involve much. And people start mistreating him. From Bharat, now he's called as Jad Bharat. Jad is someone, it doesn't affect them anything. Basically someone who doesn't have feelings or sentiments. One fine day, there were 3 soldiers and 1 king. They were passing by with a palki on them. And they were falling short of 1 human being. They all happened to find Bharat. They all call him. Now Bharat is a very careful human being. While Bharat is walking, he can see some insects and that's why he dodges them. And the balance of the palki is going away. The king is irritated now and he's taunting his his soldiers saying that, whom have you got? They all stop by. They all get down. And now king is trying to have a conversation with Bharat. King is asking, don't you understand that the balance is going off? Bharat is asking, King, please answer this one question of mine. When does a human being go on 4 people's arms? Anything done in childhood now till 5 years of age is all excused. Once you become an elder, the only time when people will hold you on 4 arms, either if they are celebrating you like a football match, or they are saying Ram Nam and taking you to the crematorium. And this one statement opened the eyes of Rahugan as a king, and Rahugan is now on the feet of the king, Bharat. So Rahugan was trying to introduce, hey, I'm the king of this area. And Bharat is like, Bharat, King Rahugan, let me tell you something. Your kingdom is a small patch in my entire kingdom. I'm the king of Bharat. I'm Bharat. This kingdom, this entire country is named after me. And Rahugan has a lot of inquisitive questions which are being answered by Bharat eventually. And Rahugan gets a lot of advice. Then comes the specification of Bhavatavi. If you want to learn something from Bharat's lifestyle, you need to learn tolerance. This is one thing that my generation doesn't have, including me. Now, why to blame everyone else when I'm also a little less tolerant human being? But tolerance is something, I'll tell you one thing. I don't blame your generation for treating us the way we have been, but let me tell you one thing. We haven't seen your hardship. You've hidden your hardship while giving us luxury. While you have hidden your hardship in giving us luxury, I don't think we value things the way you value things. For you, having a 400 rupee Starbucks coffee would be a big thing. For us, I think it's a very casual thing. You would have saved money just by walking from the station to reaching home so that you could safeguard money for future generations. I think we can take a taxi and pay 30 bucks without a second thought that what will happen to my next generation. You've tolerated a lot of things. See, yours is the only generation who has been punished by the elders and the youngsters at the same time. Yeah, punished. You could never question them. You can never question them. Sometimes it's not worth asking only because you know what kind of answers you're going to get. So I feel for you. I feel for your generation. I pity for your generation. And let me tell you one thing. My generation will face this even worse than you. अपना टाइम आएगा. हमको रोना भी नहीं आएगा तभी. आने दो. The generation after Z is going to be so marvelous, even we'll fall short in front of them. But this is what we need to learn from Rahugan King and Bhavatavi as a concept. Extolation of Jambu Dweep happens. What kind of place Jambu Dweep is. After that comes my favorite Katha of Panchamaskanda, which requires holy Ganga to come down. Now please tell me, when did Ganga come down? When? Not why, when? How many people were needed to get Ganga down? One? It took 3 people to get, 3 generations to get a Ganga down. We say Tame Bhagirath Karya Kairu because Bhagirath is the one who eventually got it down. But what about Bhagirath's father and his grandfather? Certain legacies are achieved. The seed is sown by someone else. The fruits are bred by someone else. Someone's thought to do something was eventually achieved by Bhagirath. And while getting that done, there were conditions by Gangaji. 2 things. A, who will take care of my flow? I'm forceful. I'm feisty. That's why you need Mahadevji's jata to store you. And second, if people are continuously going to submerge themselves and their sins in me, who will purify me? ખાલી પાપ ધોવા આવશે લોકો મારા પાસે. કહેવાય છે ને સુરતનું જમણ અને કાશીનું મરણ. You want to feast yourself? Go to Surat. Have your khaman and dhoklas and khajlis over there. Gajaks over there. And if you want to die, go to Kashi. Dashashwamedh Yagna, Ghat, sorry. One city where everyone just wants to die. And not just them, actually there are 7 such places. Ayodhya, Mathura, Maya, Kashi, Kanchi, Avantika, Puri, Dwaravati, Chaiva, Saptaite, Mokshadaika. Any of these 7 places, direct gateway, Mokshadaika. Narsimha mantra has been included in Bhagwatam. It is said anyone who recites this Narsimha mantra becomes a great form of personality and he doesn't fear anyone. People start fearing them. We'll learn more about it in some time from now. Bharat as a place. Durlabho manusho deha. First things first. And second thing, to being born in the periphery of Bharat itself is a blessing. This Bhumi is also known as Deva Bhumi. And how this Bhumi has been defined? Yatra naryastu pujyante ramante tatra devata. જ્યાં નારીઓની પૂજા થાય છે એ સ્થાનમાં તો દેવતાઓ પણ રમણ કરી રહ્યા છે. And we talk about society that is not fair towards women. I'm sorry to say this. We have kept women over here. It's the mistreatments of certain strata of the society that have mistreated women incorrectly. That's why we're blaming the entire society that we haven't been fair towards the women, which is absolutely incorrect. Look, by the definition itself, it says that where ladies are being worshipped, that's where the devtas are playing. And this is one place even devtas feel like coming down. The other dvipas and the lokalok has been described. Something has been said about sun's chariot. In Sanskrit, we say before Suryodaya, there is an Arunodaya. Even before the sun steps in, the charioteer of the sun, that's the Arun, that comes into the picture. I'm sure you might have seen that WhatsApp forward. We all know the distance between the earth and the sun, thanks to Hanuman Chalisa. Over here, the speed of the chariot has been defined. How the sun goes through various rashis. How the planetary systems have their own movements. How a Shishikumar sphere is represented in the form of a dolphin. How Rahu moves around. How Sankarshan Dev takes care of itself. How Narak, the hell, has been propounded is also mentioned over here. Garud Puran is not the only place where hell has been mentioned. Bhagavad is also one place where hell has been mentioned. With this, we embark Skand 5 and we enter Skand number 6. Skand 6, we'll have a bird's eye view because we are trying to understand majorly certain segment of Adhyayas over here. Comes the Nama Prakran. We all know the story of Ajamil. Brahmin by birth, eventually goes to forest, stays with a lady, does all the things that he is not supposed to, has a kid called by the name Narayan. During his last breath, he utters the word Narayan. And now there's a fight between the Yamaduta and the Vishnuduta. He was trying to remember his son, but eventually, it has been said that in your last breath, if you remember Lord's name, you can be liberated. You can note down this 6th canto, 2nd Adhyay, 14th verse. where it has been mentioned one who chants the holy name of Lord, immediately freed from all the reactions and the sins that they have. Primarily, the importance of Lord has been taken care of. Now, you might be Maryada Margi, you might be Pushti Margi. It's really essential to take Lord's name. So if you're a Shiva Bhakta, take Shiv's name. If you're Mataji's Bhakta, take Mataji's name. If you're Ganpati's Bhakta, take Ganpati's name. If you're a Vishnu Bhakta, you're a Ram Bhakta, okay, fine, take Ramchandra's name. If you are a Vishnu Bhakta and you are not a Pushti Margiya soul, but you still have love for Bhagwan, you can take Vishnu Sahasranam and still do the part of the same. One name, one mantra, one format can do those miracles that others can't as well. It requires dialogue. It's between Yam and his messengers, wherein they decide, okay, fine, you know what? A person who takes Lord's name might have not taken the entire life, still will get the same thing that others might have received. Daksha also remembers the Lord. Naradji has been cursed by Daksha. Daksha and his 60 daughters that eventually married. Here comes a scenario where sage Bruhaspati deserts Indra, and this is the time where a fight is going to be initiated. A big kavach. Recently we were talking about protection. Bhagwatam has a kavach in it itself, which is called the Narayan Kavach, and that has been propounded over here. It is said that Narayan Kavach can protect you in various forms of calamities. What should one do when there is calamity? Remember one thing, if you need to sacrifice yourself for a higher purpose, you're not losing yourself, you are actually ensuring that the victory is going to be on the Dharma's side. And that's exactly what Dadichi Rishi teaches you. Vishwarup is assassinated. Vishwarup was taken by Lord. Indra and all the gods go to sage Dadichi because Lord has insisted that go to Dadichi Rishi, take his bones, and you'll be able to make something called as Vajra. So the ashes of sage Dadichi are being utilized to create the Vajra. How to sacrifice your own self for a bigger purpose, that can be learned from something. That can be something that can be learned from Dadichi's life cycle, life story. There's a war that gets initiated between Indra and someone called as Vrutra. Vrutra is an Asur at the end of the day. But despite being an Asur, Vrutra remembers who Lord is, and that's why extols the Lord even before the fight. The four Purusharthas, Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksha, have been emphasized upon by Vrutrasur in his extolation for the Lord. It goes by the name of Vrutrasur Chatushloki. What does the Asur claim? Dasanu daso bhavidasmi bhuyaha. Lord, I don't want to be your das. I don't want to be your das's das. I want to be your das ke das ka das. Who am I to become your das? And Asur is proclaiming such thing. And it is said that because of the war between Vrutra and Indra, it had implications. And one of the implications was periods as a concept, which came to women. Women took it as a blessing in order to save mankind. Vrutra is slayed. Indra is blamed for Brahma Hatya, and that's where the sin comes into the picture, and everyone else offer their own services in order to get past it. Angira and Naradji give guidance to Chiketu. the Skanda also talks about something about Jiva, it's really essential for us to identify ourselves. And here's where I like to give you a simple thought process that is there in Pushtiman. Can you tell me the size of your soul? Size of your soul. Some people might have heard of it. It's not an uncommon phenomena. It's a normal thing. You might have heard of it before. Can you tell me the exact size of it? You're going in the right direction, Hina Ben. વાળનો સોમો ભાગ. એ સોમો ભાગનો સોમો ભાગ. એટલે તમારા વાળના છેલ્લી ભાગનો 10,000મો ભાગ. The tip of your hair's 10,000th part, obviously not visible with your naked eye, is the size of your soul, and this is the value of your soul, that if your soul goes away, your body dies. Westerners, especially clergies, did an experiment. They paid a human being to die so that they can capture the soul in the coffin. તાળી પાડી મેં સાંભળી નહીં. કોફિનમાંથી સોલ ગયો ને માણસે મરી ગયો અને પૈસાએ ગયા. How are these souls created? If you read the Upanishads, if you ask Brahmins, they'll tell you, is Sfulingaha. There's a log of wood that's burning, there's fire, and the sparkles that come out of that, that's exactly how the souls have come from the source, and that's the Brahma. Mamaye vansho jiva loke jiva bhuta sanatana. How is that mamaye vansho? Mamaye vansho, mama eva ansha. Ansha. Sparkle. And that's why the Jeev that we have has Sat and Chit but doesn't have Anand. And that's exactly what we are looking out for, Ananda. Because Anand is Tirohit in us. It's disabled. It needs to be enabled. This is Pushtimar. This is Shuddha Advait. Pure non-dualism. Understanding your source, understanding the soul. Jeev and Brahmano relation sucha. Understanding yourself is all that has been communicated about the Jeev in this 16th Adhyaya. Prahlad ji curses Chitraketu. Marudgan's Utpatti, description of Diti and Aditi's children, embarks the pause of the Skand, the 6th, and we enter into the 7th canto, wherein there's a conversation happening between Narad ji and Yudhishthir, and he's reinitiating the conversation of Jai and Vijay, which we spoke about in certain time ago. We're talking about Hiranyaksh being killed, and now Hiranyakashipu is supposed to step up in order to console the mother. Hiranyakashipu decides that, you know what, it's my time now. I'm going to do such a penance that even Brahma will have to come down. He was in his limbs in a way that there was darkness in the entire universe. The universe was so lifeless. Gods and goddesses were scared of him. And eventually Brahma comes down till that extent that there was erosion on his body. Udhai lagi gayi thi, hai na? His body was getting eroded. The insects were biting it. And what does he ask for? Amaratva. Brahmaji is like, this is exclusive. I'm not going to give it to you. Fine. Then what all is he asking? Divse namaru. Ratre namaru. I shouldn't die in the day. I shouldn't die in the night. Andar namaru, bahar namaru. I shouldn't die inside. I shouldn't die outside. Manushyathi na maru, pranithi na maru. I shouldn't die with an animal, shouldn't die by a human being. Sajeevthi na maru, nirjeevthi na maru. I shouldn't die by a living being, I shouldn't die with a non-living being as well. Okay, fair. Astu, Brahmaji blesses Hiranyakashipu. Now Hiranyakashipu ensures that he wins heaven, hell, earth, all three of them. And he gets a baby whose name is Prahlad. Who's Prahlad? Prahlad is that kid who was listening to Naradji by being in the womb of the mother. Naradji was conveying the thoughts to mother and Prahlad was registering dharma in the womb. If you listen to Rag Bihag at night, you will feel asleep. If you listen to Rag Malhar during rainy season, you will feel melodious. The way ragas have an effect on you, the ragas also have effect on the babies that they're there in the body. And this very same Hiranyakashipu's son, whose name is Prahlad, is listening to all these divine things. And one fine day when he becomes elder, Hiranyakashipu is calling for him and he's asking, tell me what have you studied? And he gives an answer, Shravanam Kirtanam Vishnu Smaranam Padasevanam Archanam Vandanam Dasyam Sakhyam Atmanivedanam. I have sent you to demons to study about other things in life. Who the hell is teaching you Vishnu Bhakti over here? And Prahlad is a novice kid. He is not just learning himself, he is also teaching his brothers, his fellow classmates. And not the first time in the history where a father has tried attempting killing a child. Right from throwing from the cliff to actually being surrounded by snakes and whatnot. Till that extent, though it's not mentioned in Bhagwatam that the Holika concept has taken place, it's actually from some other scripture. Hodi no je concept છે કે હોલિકાને દહન થાય છે, it's not from Bhagwatam. And Prahlad is such a cutie, he teaches to all the demon brothers and sisters, brothers as well. He's teaching about Vishnu Bhakti to them. So one fine day, he was being asked, how do you know this? Hey, you know what? Naradji came down, that's the reason I know Dharma. But Prahlad being Prahlad, this time Hiranyakashipu is deciding, okay, you know what, I'm going to attempt once again. And he's asking, where is your Lord? Tell me, where is your Lord? The Lord is everywhere. Is he there in this pillar? Yes, of course he is there in the pillar. And even before Hiranyakashipu takes his sword and goes to that pillar, Satyam vidhatum nijabhrutya bhashitam Stambhe sabhayam na mrugam na manusham. Stambhe, pillar, sabhayam, in the hall, na mrugam na manusham, half men, half lion. And that's where Shri Narsimha comes into the picture. Narahari Bhagavan ki jai. Half lion, half human. Nrsimha. Vaishak Shukla Chaturdashi. Narsimha Chaturdashi. One of the Upvasis day where we are supposed to perform. Just to protect, just to confirm the words of his devotee. Yahavrata Madho Prathamaliyo. જે ભક્તને ત્રાસ દેવા આવેલો હતો એ હિરણ્યકશિપુનો વધ કરવા માટે. Just because someone was trying to kill the devotee and just to keep his word that my Lord is there in this pillar, Lord appeared. And then there's a humongous amount of fight. Nrsimha manifests down and there's a humongous fight that's happening between both of them. Sometimes Lord is allowing him to beat him, sometimes Lord is beating him. And at the right moment, what is that moment? Sunset, dusk. So now Hiranyakashipu is being grabbed and at the door, I don't know what you call umrah. Umrah no translation man nathi avadtu. So you close the gate and you are outside, and then open the gate, you are inside. It's the interface between both of them. Hiranyakashipu is now sitting in the lap, is sleeping in the lap of Lord, and Lord is asking him, Chal, remember all your vardans that you had asked for. Na divse na maru, na ratre na maru. I can't die in the morning, I can't die in the night. What is this? Andar na maru, bar na maru. I can't die inside, I can't die outside. Where are you? I am sitting in your lap right now. You close the door, I'm inside. You open the door, I'm outside. Either ways. I mean, close the door and I'm outside. Open the door, I'm inside. Fair. You wanted. You can't die with a living. You can't lie. You can die with a human or an animal. Who am I? You are Narsimha. Namrugam Namanusham. Lord, you arranged everything, but how are you going to do the last thing? Sajeev thi namaru, nirjeev thi namaru. How are you going to kill me from something that is not a living thing and a living thing? I mean, either of the conditions, how are you going to fulfill it? Look, do you see these nails? Do they grow? Yes. Are they living thing? No. Does it qualify? Yes, Prabhu, it definitely does qualify. And that's where, just to showcase his love and affection for Prahlad, Hiranyakashipu has been torn apart. His intestines have been removed. And the Raudra Swarup of Narasimha is actually seen over there. And it is said so that after that, when Hiranyakashipu is already dead, all the Devis and the Devatas, they come down, they start extolling the Lord. Including till that extent that even Brahmaji sends Mahalakshmi to please calm the Narasimha down. When Narasimha doesn't get calm, for a matter of fact, Mahalakshmi gets frightened that he has never seen Lord in that format. Who's this Lord? He's Prahlada Vatsal. And that's why now Prahladji is put forward. Brahmaji is like, Prahladji, please go forward. Because Lakshmi ji can't calm him down, Indra can't calm him down, Rudra can't calm him down, I can't calm him down. You are the only one who can calm him down. So everyone else is extolling the Lord, but the eulogy that has been presented by Prahlad, Brahmadaya Suragana, all Brahmaji and all the other gods have tried worshipping you. Can you please calm down? And this is where all the barriers are broken. This is that Leela of Pushti, which is ensuring that the relationship between the God, the relationship between the divine and the devotee is being established. We feel that Narasimha Avatar is scary, but it requires a true devotee to understand that it's not scary. And this is the same Narasimha which starts licking Prahlad at a different stage. And Lord even confirms that no one else's stuti has made me calm, but it's you, Prahlad, that has made me calm. Ask me, what do you want? If Narasimhaji is there and is asking you for something, what would you ask for? Shu mangso? Narasimhaji pasati. Shu mangso kyo? Forgive the father. What else?
Certain generations to be taken care of.
Tell me.
Not my place to say, just.
The way Dhruva confirms about his speech, about his hands, about his mind, and offers it to Lord, Prahlad also does the same thing. The major difference between Prahlad and Dhruv was Dhruv asked something, Prahlad didn't ask for anything. And whatever he asked for was for the Lord itself. Somehow Prahlad wanted to be inclined towards the Lord. Both Dhruv and Prahlad became kings in future. But it's Prahlad whose character will be utilized tomorrow in our Katha again. Having said this, let's recite the Lord's name and then we can do Bhagavad Ji's Pujan. This is what Saptama Skanda, Narasimha Charitra stands for. tomorrow's session, we'll start with my favorite topic called Manav Dharma. And that's where humanity will come into the question mark, and we'll ask a question to our own selves. Are we really humans? Having said that, let's end our session today. Shri Govardhan Nath ki, Shri Giriraj Dharan ki jai, Shyam Sundar Shri Amne Maharani ji ki jai, Shri Vallabhadhish ki jai, Shri Gosai ji Paramadayal ki jai.